Everybody pulls on in. Sitting here. Everybody, all right, because I don't want no feedback. Okay, great. All right, wonderful. That'll be streaming there. And get my notes pulled up here. And you guys see me kind of looking off to the right, that's my my other monitor. So my notes and stuff are on the side here. So don't you think I'm just looking off into space?
So you contact spirit.
Right, like I'm just going in, right? We're gonna give folks one more minute here. And while I'm thinking about it, so if you're on your mobile device, okay, let me log in on mine right quick. Because we had this last time. I know who that is. Let me. Yeah, I know who that is. Let me. Here we go. There it is. All right. I had to bring him on so that because he couldn't do it through the webinar. All right. So if you're on your mobile device and you're pulling up Zoom, those of you who are on, Androids or God forbid an iPhone, then you have a swipe option. Okay. There you go. So that's me there showing up again. All right. So you can swipe from right to left, all right, to get from the pin video to getting all the video feeds all at one time. So that's how you work on your smartphone. So just swipe from right to left, and it'll work perfectly fine. All right. Let me go ahead and get out of here. All right. All right then. So thanks everybody for coming in. See, I told you, just give them 5 minutes. Everybody in. See, the mothers they working. So I want to say thank you guys for joining in. Thank you guys for taking time out of your Friday evening to be with us. We had a great outpouring last time we did this, and so I'm really excited about tonight. It's gonna be about protection. And unlike last time, I have a co-host with me, and many of you already know him. He has been on my platform a number of times. He is actually one of my students, one of my god kids. We've been in training together for almost going on a year now. He is a spiritualist in his own right. Even before he met me, he was already adept in multiple spiritual practices. Also, very renowned all over for his artistic ability. He's definitely a visionary. He works a lot with mixed media in different creative outlets. I like to say he guards the crossroads between alchemy and mixed media. So without further ado, I want to introduce everybody, Master Dogon Krieger of artbykrieger.com.
Greetings, everybody. Very glad to see you here. I'm very looking forward to everything that we're getting ready to share with you. Thank you for that warm welcome as well, Dr. Cosmic. So, well, I guess without further ado, you want to kind of get into what we have in store for our audience?
Yeah, yeah, I don't like to delay. So, those of you who are on our last webinar, or at least heard of it, know that we talked about curses and hexing and crossing work. And I definitely felt it would be, remiss to not cover the other hand of that, which is protection work. What if what if your enemy was in my last webinar? Just saying, making sure that you're also covered. So we're going to talk about protection, ways to guard, protect yourself, to if you have protection already in place spiritually, how to fortify them, how to amp them up. Some of the things we're going to drop are going to be nuggets. They're going to be things that are going to inspire you with your own spiritual practice. And again, wherever you are kind of getting where you fit in, whether you're an ATR, whether you are from some other type of spiritual tradition, or this is your first time getting into practical spirituality, we welcome you and we want you to have some skills and some weaponry, as it were, to guard and protect not only yourself, your home, your business, your kids, etc. So, without further ado, I want to first start by saying and jump off in this by saying, number one, a top way to protect yourself is shut up. Is to shut up. Okay. A lot of times we get ourselves into situations, and so now we're being reactionary and not being proactive. So I get asked a lot, well, Doc, what's the difference between uncrossing and protecting? Or a lot of times the herbs and the curios are one and the same. Well, your protection is proactive and your uncrossing is reactive. So we want you to know that we'll be able to play back the video after class. I'm going to send that link out. All right. Just give me a second. I'm going to get to that. What I want you to know is sometimes just biting your tongue, all right, will save you a lot of time, a lot of energy, a lot of money. All right. Just letting it. My mama used to say, let stuff roll off of you like water on a duck's back. So what do you think, Dogon, about being proactive in protection, which we can be proactive in our protection?
So being proactive in our protection, in fact, I feel like it's in its very nature to be proactive, because I mean, you protect yourself from misfortune and malady and, evil eye and somebody, actually aiming at you. So either you're proactive and protect yourself, or like you said, you have to go through a lot more to uncross yourself or undo what's already been done. So, a little bit goes a very long way when protecting yourself. And I think that it is that one of my favorite things with protection is that you really get to use your imagination and get really creative, especially in the sense that when somebody's throwing at you, or misfortune in general can slip through the cracks. I would like to think that misfortune, hexing, so on and so forth kind of works like pest vermin in your house. They can flip in through any little crack that it can find to manifest the presence. So, it definitely takes a creative mind, a creative, active imagination to, kind of think of where those little cracks may be, and to, actively plug them up. Because especially with protection, you're protecting yourself in various ways. You're protecting yourself spiritually, psychically, you're protecting yourself energetically, but then also physically. There's a very physical element to, there are rather protection work kind of blends that realm of like energetic and spiritual with the physical, with like actual wards that you put down and carry on you to block energy that may be aimed at you or that you may stumble across.
Good point. I'm glad you bring that up about the very physical component of protection. Or something else you mentioned, which was that the layers, and I think that's a very good point to make. do not fall into the trap of trying to specialize, or rather trying to become an expert in only one type or one field or one genre of protection. I'm going to tell you why. Because there are works out there, all right, that are aimed to evolve, all right? And so I want to set that aside for a minute and just take a step back and kind of build some vocabulary for this conversation. So what are we protecting from? So things like, as he's been mentioning here, misfortune, bad luck, the evil eye. Let me just kind of take a minute to talk about what the evil eye is. If you have watched my video on YouTube about psychic disorders, I recommend that you do that. And the evil eye, basically, or if you were in the curse webinar, you understand the evil eye. The evil eye is basically a psychic disorder. All right. It's a psychic disorder. And a lot of times people don't even know that they have it. Okay. One of the big issues is that we think that the evil eye is always intentional, and that might not always be the case. In the same way, if someone is sick, all right, they don't intend to cough on you per se, all right, just a kind of a symptom of that sickness. So the evil eye is a psychic disorder that person has, whereby they can literally cause fissions or cuts, all right, into your energetic environment, or better yet, your aura, all right? And if it goes on without being treated or without it being remediated, after a while, they'll begin to penetrate deeper and deeper into your energy field, okay? And it'll begin to cause progressive problems. So there are a couple of things that activate the evil eye. There are three primary things. They are jealousy, all right? They are envy, and they're fascination. And I know often jealousy and envy seem to be used interchangeably, but they're very different things, all right? Jealousy, excuse me, says that I don't want you, I want what you have. All right. Jealousy says, I want what you have. Excuse me. Let me rephrase that. Envy says, I want what you have. Jealousy says, I don't want you to have it. They're two very different things. In other words, envy will say that I don't want you to be married at all. Whereas jealousy just says, I want your husband. I'm jealous of you because you have that man or you have that woman. All right. So they're two very different things. And then also there's fascination. Fascination is really just a level of involvement or obsession a person will have over something you possess. They become fascinated by it. As a matter of fact, in the old world, the word fascination didn't just mean something that looked good. It literally was a type of magic, all right, called fascination, to spellbind a person, right? It's almost hypnotic, to entrance a person, to fascinate them, all right? So you'll find there are a lot of different traditions around the world, for example, with protecting babies, all right? Because babies are very susceptible to the evil eye. All right. If you ever wondered why the old workers would say, don't show anybody your mojo bag, that's actually one of the reasons. Because the mojo bag, being a type of living being, all right, is subject to the evil eye. And the evil eye can kill. The evil eye can kill. It can kill so by accident. It can kill so by bringing in misfortune. It can kill by bringing in loss. All right. So you definitely want to have protections against those kind of things. So hexes, jinxes, curses, the evil eye, these are all words that you want to have a good vocabulary of when it comes to protection. You want to know, what am I protecting myself from? Bad luck, gossip, slander, lies, all right? Incantations over you. Invocations, evocations, all right? What's the difference? Invocations, evocations normally speak to a spirit, all right, being petitioned on that worker's behalf against you. All right. The invoking is to call that spirit into something, normally like an object, for example. All right. And an evocation is to project that spirit in the physical world. So, for example, with the famous hag writing, okay, that is a type of spirit evocation. That spirit has projected itself into the physical world. And it's causing very physical changes. Also want to protect, not to be deep, but against prayers. Against prayers. There are some people, be very careful. People say, I'm praying for you. A lot of people don't know how to pray for you. When you're sick and you're ill, and so, I'm going to pray for you. But in their prayer, they're focusing more on the sickness than you being well. You see, or they want to pray their will, as it were, over and against yours. You trying to get back together with your man, and they praying for y'all to stay separated. Dogon, what do you think?
Yeah, that's a very accurate. Something I wanted to throw in there as well, and something that you touched on, but I definitely want to double down on, is understanding that protection extends beyond the world of magical practice. So understand that while you are protecting yourself from other workers, protecting yourself from the energetic realm, from spells, prayers, so on and so forth, that you're also protecting yourself from things that aren't magical in source. Protecting yourself from being targeted by a robber or a mugger. Protecting yourself from encounters with the law. Protecting yourself from physical violence. Protecting yourself from chaos. Happenstance. Car accidents, things like that, slip and falls. Small things like that as well. And a lot of that goes into actually something that I didn't include in my notes, that I don't know if you included in yours, but we never brought up foot baths and foot washing, and how protecting your feet and guiding your feet on your path is actually very important to protecting, because it literally keeps you walking in a safe space, so you're not stepping in life's pitfalls and potholes and tripping over some of the things that may be in your path, your energetic path, your spiritual path, and then quite literally your physical path. I don't know if you may want to.
Yeah, so let me jump right into there, because something very key, which is part of protection. As a spiritual worker, if you've ever consult with me, this is a part of my intake, basically, is I ask my client, what are you keeping up your spiritual hygiene? All right. That is a critical part of protection. All right. Just being clean. Think of it as it is in the physical, so it is in the natural. You wash your hands to protect against germs, viruses, airborne pathogens, right? You keep a level of sanitation. Okay. So I want to really deal with protection that comes from just having regular cleaning maintenance. All right. What are some of your ways that you protect Dogon by cleaning?
One of my a new favorite, actually, something that I have put into practice, but I definitely would recommend, is floor sweeps. Floor sweeps, of course. So sweeping up, laying down powders, laying down certain herbs, and sweeping them, sweeping around your front door, of course, your living space. But one of those things that I recommend people sweeping up with is garlic peel. It's we have a very common theme in classes that nothing goes to waste. That everything that you use can be repurposed for some sort of some sort of working with hoodoo. So, if you cook a lot, you do a lot of stuff in the kitchen, you use a lot of garlic. Instead of throwing out your old garlic skins, keep those and you can use them as a floor sweep. You can grind them down if you want to, or you can just leave them whole. I actually like the idea of leaving them whole because it kind of gives it I don't know, the air kind of catches it. They move a bit more. So like as you keep them up, not only is it grabbing the stuff on the ground, it's grabbing some of that kickback in the air. So literally as you're sweeping up, using that. That's a good thing to do. I also think that taking ritual and consecrating jewelry, something that you wear all the time. If you have a favorite bracelet, if you have a favorite necklace, ring, earrings, whatever, something that you keep on your physical body all the time is a great candidate for.
Now, when you say consecrate, let's because one thing about the I want to be very, very specific. I want to be very, very detailed. When you say consecrate, what do you mean? And can you give an example, maybe what you do, or a variation of what you do? You don't have to give away your actual secrets.
Yeah. So, consecration is essentially making something special, spiritually, energetically, magically. So by in fact taking its physical body and putting a piece of it or making a duplicate of such in the spiritual realm. So now that it has a supernatural charge to it. So it's more than just a physical object. And, this is you can tell you for me, I used to, as you can probably assume, I used to do a lot of security and a lot of, I did a lot of club bouncing and stuff. So it was really important to me. I had a lot of different rituals. Some things were, included stuff kind of like, I guess you would say like energetic projection, kind of get to the realm of like Reiki and like projecting physical blocks around me when I would go into work. But another one of those practices were putting up the necklaces that I wore were all were consecrated and set on my altar, given intention, given given magical charges so that they carried the vibration of protection with me.
How did you do that?
So how I did that. So what I would do, I would choose, I kept, I think I used to wear maybe 3 different necklaces. So I would take my necklaces, I would cleanse them, just wipe them down, get them nice and clean, physically clean, and then also with Florida water, get them spiritually clean, get whatever other energy that was on them off of them. I would set up a simple altar. And at the time I did this, my practice was, wasn't even half of what I did today or what I do today. So I believe I used, I was using black salt and red brick dust at the time. So what I did is I made a circle of, I basically made a powder of red brick dust and black salt, made a circle on my altar, placed the objects in between, and then I kind of sprinkled, covered the necklaces with that. Then I would light a black candle. I gave it incantation, gave it a prayer, I spoke a spell over it that, these objects are now consecrated and blessed to protect my physical body, my spiritual body, my mental body, my psychic body, all of those things when I go out into the world. And they very much did that. I narrowly avoided a lot of serious misfortune. I'm talking, potential club shootings, people coming to the club to shoot the club up and their guns jamming and then them deciding to flee in the last second. They're all things I experienced. Just so happened to have my schedule switched at the last minute and I narrowly avoid a brawl that took place that, people got cut and somebody went through a window and it was a whole mess, things like that. And in fact, as a testament to, that kind of work I was doing, those amulets kept me right up until kept strong for me right up until direct attack on my life. Somebody tried to jump on me and stab me, and literally, when they made their motion, the knife got caught in my necklaces, all of those spots. So usually, when you're wearing protective amulets, protective things on you, when something breaks, that's a sign that that obviously has been impacted with something malignant that was intended to harm you. So, literally in that moment, my necklaces broke, my shirt tore, and not a scratch was on me, besides from that little scuffle. So, it's very real, and a little bit goes a long way. And I feel like, I was able to put that energy just with that, that simple prayer and practice. That went a very long way for me. And then I also did a few other things. I used to carry certain herbs with me and actually burn those in the spaces that I was working in.
Such as?
Oh, such as.
People want to know, man.
So I don't want to give bad advice, because at the time I was burning sage in my roll-ups, but we know now that sage isn't so much for protecting and cleansing like people think it is. So, but at the same time though, there was a bit of intent in what I was doing, and literally putting a smoke screen between me and what was out there. And it helped me out.
Let me ask you this question. What are outside of sage, what are some herbs or some plants that people can work with or carry on them or use that have that protective quality?
I'm glad you asked that. Fantastic question. So I comprised a list of common protection spell elements. Now, some of these things are actual herbs, and some of them are not actually herbs. So something I mentioned before, garlic. We have been introduced to garlic as a protective herb from vampires, and the concept of vampires are very real, like more like psychic vampires, entities that seek to suck your life force or suck your
parasitic
entities. So it's not quite so literally something coming to bite you and suck your blood and all that Dracula stuff, but parasites that seek to attach to you and drain you. So we have garlic, a fantastic protective herb. Rue is actually
one of my favorites,
known best for protecting against the evil eye. Rosemary, great for protection. Basil, great for protection.
Can you also go into a little bit as to the why? How do we know you're not just pulling these herbs, out of the blue? What's kind of the why behind why these herbs? Why not this herb? Why this herb is good for protection?
Oh, okay. So, I like to apply what we call in the magical realm the doctrine of signatures to choosing our protective herbs, or choosing herbs in general. Whether you're working protection, you're working money, you're working love, mastery, whatever. Observations about the plant itself will give you information as to what it can be used for. A lot of times it can be just the name alone. Does it have a particular appearance? The way it grows, does it look like something? What are its features? So for instance, rose thorns, or like rose stems, cactus, aloe vera, those are all great for protection because they are literally plants that have protection manifested in their, on their physical body. They have thorns. They're meant to keep away things that tend to harm it. So you can use those same things to protect yourself, protect your space. For instance, with like rosemary, for instance, you look at a spray of rosemary, it looks like a matrix of spiky leaves that that very much have that energy of protection. Even other things, and also you can observe garlic as well. I talked about garlic and the garlic skins. You have to go through quite a lot to get to the actual inside of garlic. It has about maybe 4, 5, 6 layers of skin around it just to protect its middle part. So you think about that very essence and that feature and that virtue of that and how that applies to what you're trying to do, putting barriers between you and.
So in other words, granted, there are tons of stuff online and books or whatever they're going to give you. I mean, just lists of herbs. And but what we really want to relate to you is why these herbs. If you understand the why, then you don't really need the list. You can actually go out in your backyard and look for certain characteristics. Okay. So for example, like Dogon said, it is spikely. When you go out to touch it, does it embrace you or does it defend itself against you? Does it bite? Are there thorns on it? Is it prickly? Does it agitate you? For example, like poison ivy, does it, like you said, garlic, does it shed? All right. In other words, whatever you put on it, it will fall off of it eventually. It will not penetrate deep. It has layers and layers and layers of defenses around it. Where does it grow by? What does it attract to it? Okay. Because when you think about it, for example, if it attracts a certain kind of insect that's very violent, all right, that is significant to you attracting guardian spirits to you, all right, that will defend and that will protect you when you have need of them. Also, you look at things like basil, all right. Basil comes from the root word basilisk, all right, a very ferocious, humongous snake, okay, that would attack people. Rosemary, it is as he said, a very good for protection, but even more so, protection for those who identify as female. Rose, Mary, these are traditional female names. So when it comes to guarding the homestead or a single mother and their children and things of that nature. So what you want to look at are like you said, the doctrine of signatures. In other words, what characterizes these plants?
Mm-hmm. So just to go through and kind of list some of these things off that we mentioned, so you can build a list for yourself and maybe go out and obtain some of these things. So like I said, garlic, rue, rosemary, basil, having lemon and using lemon, and citrus in general, very, very powerful cleanser. What I've come to realize in practice is that crossing, uncrossing, protection and cleansing, they're like three sides of the same coin, essentially. You can a lot of the things that you protect yourself with have an aggressive nature that you could also use to have an aggressive nature to break up stagnant, malicious energy. So the same things you can cleanse with are usually things that you can protect yourself with, and then also at the same time things that you would cross yourself with, you would uncross with. It seems how uncrossing is generally a form of cleansing as well. So keeping that in mind. So we mentioned garlic, rue, rosemary, basil, lemon, black pepper, a very famous hoodoo staple, devil's shoestring. Devil's shoestring is like one of the best protective actual roots that you can get. And if you're not familiar with devil's shoestring, this is actually a specimen here. Devil's shoestring is called such because its root system comes as like a gnarled, essentially mess of roots. So the idea behind devil's shoestring is that like the old like cartoons or whatever, or the old prank where you would tie somebody's shoestrings together without them knowing. So when they get up and try to, chase you or whatever, they get tripped up and they fall. So quite literally, you're tying the devil's shoestrings together and keeping somebody who is attempting to do you harm in some sort of way from being able to accomplish that task. In fact, I think you have a video on YouTube about how to bind somebody with devil's shoestring to keep them from going at you. So.
And I'll also just go on that in just a second, and we'll also get to the question at the end. So if you guys want to pose questions while we're talking, you can. Let me know. We're going to answer them all at the end. But devil's shoestring, like he said, also has, not only is it just protective in a singular fashion, but it does have a type of retaliatory ability. Like he said, when you tie somebody's shoes together and they decide to get up and still go after you, they're going to fall. That's going to have an impact on them. All right. Now, it's just not going to just neutralize the effect. It's going to rebound it back to them. Secondly, according to the doctrine of signatures, devil's shoestring was, they called it the devil first and foremost because of the plow. All right. If you were a farmer trying to plow your field, that root system was not deep. It was very shallow. So it clogged up and it will restrict you trying to plow through it. So this, all sorts of people, when dealing with practitioners, all right, have a very strong force in their mind. They're trying to plow into you. They will also cross them up and it'll restrict them or at least slow them down in their attacks against you.
Yes. So there's that. I wanted to mention a few more herbs here. Tansy. We did a little bit of research on tansy flowers, and tansy flowers are actually a good form of pest control for, if you're working in a garden or whatever, by taking dry tansy flowers and forming like drawing like a line, forming like a barrier around certain plants, certain crops. It keeps certain pests from wanting to cross that line. So by per doctrine of signatures, you would do the same thing for pests in your life. And that's also why tansy is a really good herb for keeping the law away from you, protecting yourself there, especially in this day and age we live in now. If you have family members or even yourself or people who want to be protected from predatory law enforcement agencies like ICE and stuff, keeping tansy on and around you keeps those can help keep those pests away. So there's other other plants and parts of plants aren't quite herbs, but still have that protective quality. Quita maldición is actually another
one of my favorites,
very well known and very effective plant for not only protecting.
You actually have this is just as a side little joke here. So we were preparing some medicines last year for our feast for our house, our spiritual house. And so we were breaking down, and we were up late, well, actually early in the morning, late to early in the morning. And he had the opportunity to actually have a first-hand encounter with fresh Quita maldición.
Oh man. Yeah, it was definitely a thing. It was interesting because working with that Quita maldición was a lesson in consent. Was a lesson in consent and grace when dealing with your herbs. I was kind of just going in blind, just going to snatch off leaves, and every time I put my hand in there, I prick myself. And Doc told me that you have to apply a certain amount of a certain kind of finesse, and I realized that finesse was my approach to the plant, but also an energetic, a spiritual finesse in me, kind of asking permission to grant me your power as far as allowing me to obtain your lead for this. It's something that I kind of took from that.
Quita maldición is very, very. It literally means maldición means the bad word or the curse. It means to stop the curse. And it stops everything. If you, like you said, if you're trying to go get that leaf off of that plant, it's going to prick you. It's very, very prickly. And you really have to take a type of finesse. You can't just go on trying to pull it unless you have experience with it. You're going to get yourself really scratched up trying to lay hold of that plant. That's also why it is a good in disrupting, breaking up, piercing through curses. Also want to say this. So let me tell you literally what I tell my students. All right, when they first came to working under me, there are three things. All right, if you have these three things, you can do pretty much any kind of spiritual work. Three things: a white candle, a cigar, and a bottle of rum. All right, that's in my emergency kit I carry with me at all times. All right, when you're working with making something into a protective amulet for you, a piece of jewelry that you wear on you, a necklace, or whatever the case may be, light dogon. So you can have that buried, okay. Let's say in church dirt with what I want to say, red brick dust. You can also add a little bit of gunpowder to that. Bury that under there. All right. And what you want to do is pour a little rum onto that dirt. Let it soak down into the amulet. All right. Blow some smoke into that. Feed it. All right. That's how we feed works. That's why we use those three things, because they feed work very easily. Right. Liquor or spirit or a rum for the blood. All right. The smoke for the soul, the breath. I give you breath. I give you life. All right. And then the light of the candle represent illumination and the spirit of that being. All right. So really you're birthing with a type of birthing ritual. When you put it, you bury it. All right. It dies to its physical, what it was going to be before you had it. And it's kind of raised or exhumed now with the force you protect. Everything you put into that soil, that church dirt, which has a spiritual protection, that gunpowder that has that explosive, dynamic, active, retaliatory protection, and then that red brick dust, that strong, fortified, sealed, cemented kind of protection. Those three elements are now, soaked into whatever you place into it. All right. And another thing I want to bring up here, there's a whole book, all right, called The Book of Protections. All right. Free of charge. You can find it on, I think, Sacred Text or whatever. I mentioned it a lot, both online and in private. It is a book of writs. So do you want to go a minute into what writs are, how they can be used in a protective way?
Yes. So I've actually employed the use of writs in a few places, and I've seen them become pretty beneficial. So writs are essentially written prayers that have biblical reference to them. You'll notice that when you go into the Book of Protections itself, all the writs are in reference to scripture and stories to the Bible. So the writs themselves or rather that Book of Protections has writs that have been in use and practice for hundreds and hundreds of years. So because of that, they're imbued with what you call a spiritual muscle memory. So these very same writs have been used over and over and over for some time, so they have power and repetition there. Spirit energy knows how to react to these writs because they've been utilized so many times. But you can also create your own writs, just by basically in the same way that you go into prayer and write your petition, write your instructions, write your desires, what you want to happen, what you want this writ to do for you, particularly in the realm of protection, and then keeping that on yourself. That becomes an amulet. It becomes an object imbued with supernatural power to keep on yourself. So that's a very, very good practice. And then you can always apply different creative practices to your writ to kind of give it an extra level, give it an extra layer, applying your spiritual color theory. Black is a protective color. Blue is also a protective color. So, writing in blue ink, or write your writ on blue paper and black ink, those kind of things, binding it up with, black or blue string. Red is also a protective color. It's a very fiery, passionate color. A lot of times you may see houses with red doors. Having a red door house, a door that's painted red is a way to literally keep out negative energy. Is quite literally like the energy of stop signs are red lights, and
also, especially here in Charleston, not here in Charleston, but especially in Charleston where I'm from, you have a lot of reds and blues. All right. Reds representing, as it were, the blood of Jesus or the blood of sacrifice. And even from ancient times, that a place was consecrated when there was blood smeared over it, right? There are certain spirits that would not even across certain literally bloodlines. There you go. All right, that's a word for you. Because of fear, all right, that those spirits may anger or may offend a spirit more senior to it in power. They would say, so what they would do, they would offer up sacrifices, and the blood would be a sign that this land, this property, this church, whatever, belongs to the spirit to whom this sacrifice was given to. So you don't have to do blood sacrifices. You can pick up red palm oil. All right. When we're talking about protecting against natural things, natural disasters here in the South, to go by the East, because they have a lot of storms, weather issues, flooding, rains, and so on. Going outside, and you can take some hyssop, like the Bible talks about. All right. Some hyssop, dip it in red palm oil, go to your local grocery store, get red palm oil, and literally, cross over the threshold. You do the same thing for over your windows. All right. You can lay a line of these powders we're talking about across your door, across your window sill. All right. Yeah.
In fact, I did keep with that in mind. I did want to kind of go back. You mentioned powders. I wanted to go back through my list of common and not so common effective protection elements. Yes, so I've given you a good bit of herbs before. Like I said, tansy, garlic, rue, rosemary, basil, Quina maldición, cactuses like aloe vera, black pepper, rose thorns, for instance. All of those things are plant material. Also, devil's shoestring and tree bark. Again, according to the doctrine and signatures, what does the purpose of tree bark serve but to protect the trunk
of the tree?
That's vital to feeding water and feeding water to the tree, and just protecting the tree. So quite literally, using tree bark, particularly the harder the tree bark, the stronger it would be for protection. So we're finding the right kind of tree, cedar, oak, harder woods like that, opposed to like pine, which is known for being very papery and kind of weak. Like eucalyptus and
well, let me say this: maybe not pine bark, but pine needles.
Yeah, very true. So again, doctrine and signatures. Different parts of the tree, different parts of a plant can render you very different virtues to different virtues to your work. So it all goes to all this to say that your intention and your knowledge of what it is you're working with, you can extract that virtue in a sense and put that to work in your spell. Some other things I mentioned: black salt, turtle shell.
Wait. Hold on a minute. What is black salt?
All right, so black salt, a very simple recipe. So basically, you can black salt is literal salt. You can use table salt, Epsom salt, whatever kind of salt you want to use if you want to be deep. And then you mix that with ash from your work and charcoal. So and then you can always take it a little bit further. So your ash can always be other protective herbs, so you can really double down on that. So say you want to burn down your other protective herbs like rue, rosemary, basil, and so on. You can burn that down to an ash, mix that in your black salt. Cigar ash, also very good. In fact, tobacco in general is good for any kind of protection work because when employed that way, tobacco can create, and particularly tobacco smoke or cigar smoke can create confusion in a target. So, anything that's trying to come for you by literally, putting a smoke screen between you and that creates an air of confusion for something that is attempting to target you and harm you. So you can take the ashes of all those different things, and of course, just regular old charcoal. You don't even have to burn it first. You can just powder it down and mix that with your salt, and voila, you have black salt. And you can use that to create put protective barriers around your doors, your windows, add into mojo bags, so on and so forth. So, another, powder or a powdered object that would work there. Tree bark, like I said, turtle shell, shelled animals with an exoskeleton that have a hard outer body or something protective like that. Going to be great for protection, obviously, because those are in place to protect the soft, squishy innards of that animal. Turtle shells, crab shells, all those things. Now, something you mentioned before, Doc, we talked about certain plants that attract particularly violent or harsh animals as the aggressive spirits that will put around you, using wasp nests, beehive. Obviously, don't use a live one, but especially living down here in the South, you can look around.
Just live long enough, you'll find one.
Yeah, probably find an old wasp nest that is no longer being used. That nest not only is meant to protect the wasp, but but it's also has the energy and the virtue of a well-known, quite belligerent and aggressive insect, being the wasp itself. So
let me say this. Let me say this also. So something else I want you guys to know about the why, okay, and protection work. And this is something you may not hear anywhere else. So a lot of people are familiar with sympathetic magic, all right? That magic works along the doctrine of sympathy, but it also works along the doctrine of apathy, all right? Apathetic magic. By that, I mean, in the same way, if you are bit by a venomous snake, all right, the toxicologist wants to know what snake bit you, all right? We can create an anti-venom from the venom, all right? So you'll find that a lot of things used in cursing work also used to protect from that curse, all right? In the same way that, in the same way of like playing dead. Y'all remember, watch movies. If you play dead, the animal's like, okay, that's dead, that's dead, that's dead, move along. All right. In the same way, it sees its work already there. It will pass it over and pass it by. All right. That's the way to confuse spirits. So oftentimes, whereas sulfur, all right, is very often used in cursing work, can also be used to defend against curses. In other words, what I'm saying to you is this: you can neutralize it. All right. They use it against you. You already have it laid down. It will neutralize itself. All right. That's the point I wanted to make. That's why you think like you said, wasp nest can also be used in protection.
Yeah. So with all that said, I think we listed out a lot of really good things for you to consider using in your protective work. So also one thing that I don't think we mentioned, but I have here in my notes is dragon's blood. So part of your spell work, part of your your incantation and the work that you do to give energy and give it an intention and direction to your spell usually requires sensing. Should you burn a certain type of incense while you do this work? Frankincense for certain type of things, blessing work and abundance and prayers and such. Myrrh, particularly myrrh, also a good protective sense. But dragon's blood. Dragon's blood is probably one of my favorite senses to burn, as it's a booster in a sense that it adds aggressive draconian energy to what you're doing. So whenever you're doing your protective work, I always recommend burning dragon's blood, also including that in your recipe for whatever work that you're doing, particularly because dragon's blood is very easy to crumble and break down and turn into a powder. In fact, sometimes you might only find it as a powder. So adding it to a powder is always a very, very good touch. Keeping in line with the doctrine of signatures, combining dragon's blood with basil is always a very good practice. It's a good practice for the work you're doing. So with all of that said,
wait, because I'm not satisfied. I'm gonna give them some more. All right. I'm gonna give them some more stuff. I still feel a little unsatisfied. I want to give them some more deep stuff to think about and consider. So going back to the written thing and just working with written, using writing rather as a form of protection. All right. Here, you guys know I'm very well known for working with seals and astrological magical systems. Here are some seals for you that you might want to consider. These are very easy to find online. The first pentacle of Saturn. The first pentacle of Saturn is used to subdue spirits. All right. So the spirit's been sent at you. All right. The pentacle of Saturn, the first pentacle of Saturn, is of great value and utility for striking terror into the spirits. Wherefore, upon it being shown to them, they submit, and kneeling upon the earth before it, they obey. All right. First pentacle of Saturn. Here's another one for you that I like. I think it's the fourth pentacle of, nope, not the fourth. The sixth, here I am. The sixth pentacle of Jupiter. Going back to what Dogon said about not just spiritual issues, but very mundane, physical, tangible problems. The sixth pentacle of Jupiter serveth for protection against all earthly dangers, right? The physical sides of things, break-ins, muggings, very physical things, all right? The sixth pentacle of Jupiter works with that. Another one, obviously Mars. Okay. Let's see here. All right. The second pentacle of Mars. This one is against diseases. All right. Sickness. This pentacle serveth with great success against all kinds of disease if applied to the afflicted part. All right. Another pentacle of Mars, one of my favorite ones, kind of what Dogon was talking about with bodily harm. The sixth pentacle of Mars. The owner of this cannot be harmed. If attacked, the foe's weapon shall turn against him. Am I saying don't wear bulletproof vest? No, I'm saying wear this behind your bulletproof vest. Okay, is what I'm telling you. All right. It hath so great value that being armed therewith, if thou art attacked by anyone, thou shalt neither be injured nor wounded when you fight with them, and their own weapon shall turn against them. All right. It's a way to have a reversal. Yes.
I wanted to chime in real quick because you mentioned bulletproof vest, and this is something I had in my notes. Kevlar thread. Using Kevlar thread as part of a protective mojo bag is an excellent way to add quite literally a bulletproof essence to your work. Whether you want to bind something in Kevlar thread, also good for that type of work. You know, if you want to keep something from from breaking free, but using Kevlar thread where you would use string in any other sense, like if you're tying. I like to tie my writs to my candles, to like the 7-day glass candles. So I would tie my writ or tie whatever I'm doing around a protection candle to that. So,
all right. Going even further. So also, where else did I want to say? Yes, here's another famous one I like. The sixth pentacle of the sun. I want to talk about this also just for a second. Invisibility. I mentioned before the beginning of this, just being quiet will help protect you. Also, a person cannot hit what they cannot see. All right. Another way to just avoid conflict is working with invisibility. All right. For example, now let me also say this. Before I get into that. All right. Invisibility, let me clarify what I mean by that. Am I saying that photons of light are going to actually bend around your being? No. All right. A better way of saying invisibility is becoming unnoticed, passing by unnoticed, passing under the radar. All right. I've done these works countless times. I can tell you, people walk right past me asking for me. All right. In a very real way. So what you want to do, here's some ideas for invisibility. Black cat hair. All right. Put black cat hair, let's say in your pocket, black cat hair in your shoes. All right. To convey invisibility, or even just working with animals and animal parts that are nocturnal. Okay. You know the very famous black cat bone? We're not going to go into that right now, but you get my drift. Okay. Working with black cats, having that aura of shadow. All right. Also, burning black candles. Black candles are not just to kill your enemy. All right. They're also to bring darkness, to shroud. Okay. Not only you can use darkness in two ways. All right. Both defensively and offensively. What do I mean by that? You can defend yourself by shrouding you in darkness so you cannot be seen. You can move undetected. Or you can shroud your enemy in darkness so they cannot see or perceive. All right. Also, very good when you're working with people who have very psychically inclined. All right. To blind their eyes so they cannot see the work that you're doing. All right. Things like holly leaf. All right. If you're doing a ritual space, all right, and you don't want to be detected or picked up on magically, then there are, you can put black cat hair in the four corners and also holly leaf in the four corners. There's also a plant called agar agar. All right. It's actually an algae, as a matter of fact. You can find it in your local Asian shop. All right. Get it powdered. Put it in your shoe. You will walk in it. As they say, you'll walk like death. They can't see you. I also say this now. You know, if you walk outside and get hit because nobody saw you, you're on your own. All right. But okay. But this is also very good if you're working under the radar, if you have an establishment that might not be quote unquote legal, okay, as it were, trying to stay under the eyes of the law. All right. Working with black cat hair. Okay. Sprinkle it on your property, around your front door, putting a cat bone. You don't have a black cat bone, just a cat bone over your threshold. All right, over your windows, at least the threshold to your front and your back door. So you're under the aegis of a nocturnal animal. Same thing. Your dog got gifted me with an owl wing. All right. You can, if it's a nocturnal bird, you have a feather from it. All right. Take that feather, burn it to ash, make a powder from it. While I'm talking about powders, let me give you an easy powder. You probably already got it. Baking soda. All right. It's an old trick I learned from the old timers. Baking soda. All right. One of the workers I studied under, if they're expecting a client to come, they would lay baking soda all over the floor. And they told me that it will neutralize tricks. If that person comes and there's a powder on them, all right, it will not transfer into the house. All right. It'll cause a layer to be there. Also, I'll tell you something else too. When you're doing your spiritual cleansings of your space, lay down baking soda, let it sit for a while, then sweep it up, and then throw it out the house. Okay. You can also do the same thing if you're dealing with night terrors. All right. When you clean the bed, strip the bed, put baking soda down on the raw mattress. Let it draw up and absorb. Why do we use baking soda in the refrigerator? To draw in foul odors, all right? Smell, something invisible but still real, spiritual, all right? And it's a foul spirit. It draws it in, okay? Put that on the bed, let it sit for a while, say your prayers if you want to, then come back and vacuum it up, all right? So baking soda is very good for, since you are priority to have at home, it's very good for that. Baking soda is a very easy programmable powder anyway, by the way, just as a side note. Right. Yeah.
So I know that we were probably getting ready to do our demonstrations. Mm-hmm. I wanted to speak a little bit about images, like protecting images. Good. Okay, so we live in a digital age now. Back in the day when Hoodoo was first on the rise, we didn't even have photography. Now we're at the point, then into the advent of that technology. You started seeing photographs incorporated into magic. You could target somebody by using a photograph, whether it was a sweetening jar, whether it was a sour jar, but using, and we also kind of spoke on already on writs. Writs are a form of image magic in the sense that writs, sigils, spiritual signatures, all of those things kind of still operate in the same vein of magic. even going back as far as petroglyphs, carvings, inscriptions, hieroglyphs, images that contain a load of information, in them. So you know that an image, a picture is worth 1,000 words. A picture is literally the light essence of an actual thing. So I can hold up a picture of myself, and you would ask, "Is this Dogon?" That is Dogon, very much so. Mm-hmm. That's me. That's not my physical body, but it's the closest representation of myself that you can get. So when you are working in that, when you're working in that realm, of course, you want to be sure to protect yourself that way as well. So we're all on social media. Most of us probably have photos of ourselves, and even in the sense that we probably have photos of ourselves that, not to our permission. It might be family uploading photographs. It could be, from the, or it could be somebody taking a picture and you're not even aware. But there are things that you can do to protect yourself in photographs. Now, what's interesting enough is that by using wards, visible wards, keeping on your person, having those depicted in the photograph is a form of protection. So, should you wear a crucifix, wear a cross on a chain or whatever around your neck, that's a form of protection. Having, a visible weapon in the shot of that picture is a form of protecting yourself in that, quite literally in that image. And then, other things as well. So say you have your photo, you want to upload your selfie to Facebook, but you don't want somebody to be able to take your photo and be able to work it. One thing you can do, obscure your eyes. A very famous root doctor, I'm sure you all know, who is basically a deity of hoodoo at this point, Dr. Buzzard, was known for wearing dark purple glasses at all times. I don't think he was ever photographed or seen without these glasses because, of course, your eyes are a window to the soul. So you keep people out of your soul, out of your mind, out of this space, obscure your eyes. Having photos where, your eyes are obscured with glasses, sunglasses, or the like. Also, smiling in a picture. That may seem, that may not make a lot of sense to you, but when you think about the function of teeth, particularly in the animal kingdom, and we are in that animal kingdom. Human beings are, are beasts like everything else. Our teeth are weapons, are used to protect. Actually, when you look at, cats, or cats, dogs, most animals, a sign of aggression and a sign of, don't fuck with me is showing the teeth. So, whether it's a nice little cheese or a scowl, like, or your teeth being present kind of puts that, essence there that, you have teeth. Quite literally, that phrase of something having teeth, something that is very capable of biting. But I wanted to go into a little bit more, and I was gonna show you, but we're running a little bit out of time, so I'm not gonna.
Go ahead.
Huh?
Go ahead and show them.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, I'll speak on it first. If it's not making sense, I'll actually give you more instruction on that. But we all have cell phones. We all have, smartphones, the ability to take a picture. We all have apps in which we can edit those pictures on. So a good way to protect yourself and protect your space, particularly, and also protect your work as well. If you're showing off a particular work, is the use of filters and mirroring and reversing your image. So quite literally, take a photo of yourself and, you can use just about, there's so many different apps online, apps you can get, directly to your phone that allow you to apply filters. Instagram has a whole bunch of filters. I think even Facebook now has frames and filters that you can put over your picture. So take a picture of yourself, flip it, literally reverse the image. By reversing the image now, even though that is still you, it's actually a reverse of what was depicted originally. So now when you reverse that image, somebody who tries to work that image of you, is under the aegis of reversal. So now they try to send something at you, it's reversing, it's basically bouncing off of a mirror. That's something you can do. You can also obscure yourself, obscure your face by applying a basic filter, a color filter. Something as simple as just making a black and white image can be a layer of protection, or putting some sort of a filter on top of that, obscures the colors. That is essentially what it's doing, is that you're still conveying and presenting yourself, but you're putting a layer that bends the reality. What you're depicting now with this, filter is something that actually doesn't exist. Somebody tries to psychically connect with this, like, you don't have that filter over you in real life, but they can't penetrate that. That the work can't essentially penetrate that filter and literally find you in the real world, because it has this coloring over it. It has something that distorts the reality in which this picture was taken, making that work, making it much harder, or if not impossible, for that work to find you. You can also you can take that a step further. You can create watermarks and placing them over your pictures. If you know how to use watermarks, it's very easy. If you have essentially software or an app that can transpose an image on top of another image and make it almost even invisible, make it to where it's barely visible to the eye, but it's still there. And you can take it a step further and watermark your images with the images of other things that are protected. So all those herbs we listed, you can use images of that. You can use images of weapons, machetes, bricks, brick walls, other weapons, spears, swords, guns, even if you want to. You can really get creative, and with the things that you watermark your images with. You can also use protective sigils. You can also use seals. If you want to watermark your image with a seal, so that anybody who tries to print that image, use it, is literally have a seal present, blocking you from that, blocking that work from manifesting in your life. I think that is living in this digital age, that is a very important information to have, how to protect yourself there. And I think that is
and even just look at, just to play to his point, look at when I did the ad for this webinar and the image is chosen, right? Although you saw my image, but you saw my background also, which actually is an evil eye. That's your protective amulet behind me, all right? My eyes are looking at you, okay? Also, Dogon, the image he had, he was the railroad, right? Where his house sits at with his machete, all right? It looked aesthetic, but it was also very real. Fuck with me if you want to, you'll get this blade. You see what I'm saying? Even where he's sitting, you can see a staff behind him. You can see a graphic behind him. Even now, you see, it just becomes part of, your ear, exactly. Of course, he's got his famous, eye, so it just becomes a part of your repertoire, and you layer. Am I saying that one thing is going to neutralize it all? Maybe, maybe not. But if you begin to layer yourself, all right, is that much more your target or your adversary has to go through, all right? And the idea is this. The idea is that, number one, the attack never gets to you. And number two, your enemy is worn out in its efforts. It just takes too much.
Because most people, especially when you're getting in the realm of petty cursing and hexing and so on and so forth, somebody can be angry in that moment and decide to want to do something to you. But, it's very unlikely that somebody is going to keep revisiting. You're angry in that moment, and you let this out, and you let this you threw this work at somebody, and if it didn't hit them, it didn't hit them. And are you gonna really go back into divination and being nosy and looking to see what may be functioning or malfunctioning in this person's life, and then coming up with a whole other plan? Now, if your enemy is a true adversary and somebody who must be taken down, somebody who is attempting to do you a great evil, serious injustice, then of course. But you know, for petty stuff like, you know, somebody's gonna throw something at you one time maybe, and that'll be it.
You know, here's the other thing too. As these things are coming, I'm just gonna, y'all know me, I'm gonna unload. I'm gonna make sure you get it all. You know, prepared soap. Working with your soaps, all right. One of my favorite is sulfur soap. It smells bad, it smells like sulfur, all right, but it's very good for uncrossing, all right. If you also, you can get dragon's blood soap, or you can make your own dragon blood soap by taking dragon blood, putting it into a powder, and putting it into Castile soap, all right. Literally having one thing about dragons and reptiles is not only is there fire breathing, they got claws and wings and so on, but also they have scales, very thick scales, almost like its own armor. And think of it, you're armoring yourself down in the shower, all right? And it's going to be sitting on you. I like to use prepared black soaps, all right? You can, there's so many different things you can do with black soap, but just to kind of, you know, something simple you can do is the RIT, Dogon talked about, the seals I'm talking about, etc. Powder it down, burn it to ash, powder it down, mix that into black soap. It's still going to hold its virtue, and literally apply that seal, as it were, to you as an actual armor. All right, a liquid armor, a washed on armor, as it were. All right, definitely put it in your shampoo. All right, you want to have your head guard. And think about Ephesians chapter 6, putting on the whole armor. All right, that's what we want to show you today, how to put on the whole armor, not have any area that your adversary can slip in through. All right, guard your mind. Often you'll find that I have something on my head. Very often. All right, you don't know what's in that something. All right, that something. All right, these little weight caps, for example, have been soaked in solutions, in extracts. All right, knowing for magical, for protection, to protect my mind. All right, protect my spiritual senses. I've got to, it's required, because that's an occupational hazard. Think of it. If Doc couldn't see, he a seer, he can't eat. Okay, so this is an occupational hazard. You can put seals in here. If you got wraps, you know, writ, etc., amulets. Okay, if you got hair designs, you know, you got beads, for example, use your dark navy blue, your light sky blue, and white. These are colors that avert the evil eye. Okay, put different charms, as it were, shields, sword charms, or whatever. Tie them into your hair. If you have your hair wrapped up, have it wrapped up in very protective colors: whites, blues, blacks, reds, etc. Okay. Also, very famous is catching spirits. All right, catching spirits. I don't want to belabor, but I want you guys to give you a lot of things to work with. With a spirit trap. All right, a spirit. There are many ways to build spirit traps. Literally, they say keep giving it. Just keep giving it. Now. Literally, you can get if you. Because I don't want to get too ahead of myself. I don't want to get too advanced that you can't do this as a common person. Get you a white bowl. Get you a white bowl that you haven't used, preferably a new bowl, and get you a permanent marker. All right. And write in the bowl a prayer. All right. A writ. Okay. Write it around. Begin to call it a spiral from the top all the way down around the bowl, around the bowl, around the bowl, around the bowl, down into the base. All right. So you have a spiral. Some call them a gin trap, some call them a demon trap, etc. They work the very same way. Okay. What you can do is you can put a little salt in the bottom there, or black salt if you want to. All right. And some Florida water. All right. Set this outside of your front door of your house. All right. Crack your front door or your back door, whatever the case may be. All right. And ignite, put a little bit of Florida water, ignite that Florida water. All right. It will call the spirit in. It'll get sucked into it. All right. That's also something we do when working with different rooms and spaces. that may be having nocturnal attacks, all right? Putting that under the bed, not while it's lit, obviously, but just to let it sit under there for a few days, okay? And then throw the salt out, all right? Once you've done that, you've burnt everything down, break that bowl, all right? And discard it elsewhere, not on your property, all right? That's more in the uncrossing area, but this is also for being proactive in your protections, all right? As we know, something very common, the railroad spikes, all right? Not only to, nail down a property, but you protect the property. Here's something else very common, all right? And I admit I do it too. Piss on your yard. Piss in your own yard. My God, if you can piss in your own yard, where can you piss? I'm just saying. We become that conservative. We can't piss in our own yard. I do it regularly. All right. Yes. Why do we do that? As he said, even in the animal kingdom, animals do that. They use urine as a way to master their territory. They say, hey, do not cross this line. This belongs to me. Okay? Because part of protection is also security or securing something. All right, be mindful of that. Also, I want to tell you, with your shoes, okay, your shoes, you can get a permanent marker, black permanent marker, or the color of the sole of your shoe, the under part of your shoe. All right, you can write seals, sigils, signatures. All right, on the bottom of your shoe. All right, you can actually, if you don't know what to use, all right, at the top of the shoe, put an X. Middle of the shoe, put an X. Heel of the shoe, put an X. All right. So you will not walk over evil. All right. You'll cross it out. All right. That's why you can keep your feet shut. It's written in Ecclesiastes chapter 5:1. Guard your feet when you go before the house of God. These are some things you want to keep in mind. Very simple things. All right. But they can spare your life. I'm telling you what I know. All right. People will trick you to the feet and you think you got arthritis. You think you've got osteoporosis. You've got different types of nerve endings, okay? Things like that aren't actually there. We don't see anything wrong with you. You might have been tricked to your feet, all right? The same thing can apply for your vehicle. Very good question. Mojo bags. I love Mojo bags. I'm just a Mojo man, okay? Mojo bags, amulets, and things like that. Have them in your car. All right. You can actually put railroad spikes in your car. Put a railroad spike in your glove compartment box in the front and one in the trunk. All right. One I teach my students also is getting if you want to work with the spirit of iron. All right. That rules all machines. Get a steak. You can get a very cheap steak. I think, you can find a steak like $1 at Dollar Tree these days, from what I'm finding out. Okay. Very cheap, not anything elaborate, all right, and take that raw steak, all right, and rub it into your tires, all right, to protect while you're on your journey, all right. The same thing, you can put comfrey root, all right, in your pocket or in your car if you're traveling. Steak is the steak that you eat. All right, like a T-bone steak. All right, and once you've done that to the 4 tires, put it in a brown paper bag, leave it at the railroad. All right, let the spirit of the railroad eat what is his due for protecting you. Comfrey root, very good for safe travel. I don't travel anywhere without comfrey root, especially if I'm going over state lines or a long distance. All right, outside of 200 miles, I got comfrey root on me. All right. Comfrey root is very good for safe travel because if you know anything about comfrey root, you can throw it anywhere, it will take root, meaning that it always is at home. Okay. And because of that, also will bring you back home safely. Okay. Using objects that are U-shaped, like a boomerang, to bring you back home. All right. So you will go out, but you also return back as well. Okay. These are things that you want to have in your arsenal. Also, actually, we're going to put a recipe out there for red brick dust, but yes, making a paste. I like to use red brick dust, urine, blacks. Well, no, I don't use black salt for this particular thing. Urine, red brick dust, gunpowder, and red pepper. All right, red pepper. All right. Ground that all up. Use your first morning urine, your strongest urine. Make a paste. All right. And you can lay that down. It'll kind of stay a little bit longer than a powder will, as a wind will come and pick it up and carry it. All right. All right.
So yeah. I wanted to throw in one more quick trick, kind of going back to the image magic I spoke on. So really quick thing you can do to not only protect yourself, but also to exude a certain type of energy in any space you're in. So, we're speaking of protection. Use angel cards, images of angels, saints, or it can be anything that conveys the energy and the power that you want to have in a framed photograph. Take a picture of you, put in a frame, put the image of the angel or the saint or whatever you have. It could be a seal. It could also be the other writs or whatever behind your photo and put that in a frame. Now, when you do that, you have that energy pretty much guarding your back. Then you can also do something as well. You can take photographs of weapons and take 2 photographs of weapons, facing forward, facing backwards, put your photo inside, and bind it up. That way you're literally putting guards around you, whether it's a photograph of a machete, a photograph of a shotgun, whatever you have, or what have you, put your photo between those 2 things and you can just keep it somewhere. You can keep it in your altar room. You can keep it in your altar. You can just stash it somewhere safe, if you want to bury it, whatever you want to do, you can do that, but by using those elements of image magic to protect yourself. So keep that in mind. And I've actually taken some of that theory and applied it to some things we're going to talk about after my demonstration, after Doc's demonstration, and before. I guess we can probably do that near the end after Q&A.
We're going to do a little bit before then. I want to say this, and we'll get into our demonstration. I know you guys are anxious to see some how this actually works practically. My demonstration I'm going to do, I'm going to go first, but I just want to talk about this for a second, is another key aspect of protection, all right, are decoys, all right? A lot of it is with, Sun Tzu to the all warfare is based upon deception, all right? Whether, you're hiding, whether you're using invisibility to shroud yourself, things of that nature. Also having a decoy, the way a decoy works, and I'm going to actually, I'm actually going to show you how to build one. Very effective, very powerful. Using myself personally, I became very famous for this on when I was on Periscope. They had a lot of different readers on Periscope, angel card readers, mediums, whatever the case may be. They would always complain about these trolls in there, these kind of unnamed, unseen audience members who are very psychically vampiric to them. They always feel drained, etc. And so I said, well, what are you doing to address that? They coming from, I guess, I don't want to say, a non-active spirituality. They didn't do anything. They just, believe certain things. I said, well, in my tradition, we have to do something about that. We have a way to take the energy and redirect it somewhere else. So by having a decoy, if a person sends a spirit, a magical charge, a spell or whatever to you, even if they have your personal concern, I'm talking about beyond just your picture. All right, I'm talking about they have your hair, your semen, your menstrual blood. They've got they got your stuff. Okay. Doc, how do I protect myself against that? You need to build a decoy, all right, with those same things. And what will happen is when they use that personal artifact of yours to hit you, it will not hit you. It'll be redirected to your decoy. The decoy will get hit and you will not. All right. So that's what I'm gonna talk about in my demonstration here. But Dogan, go ahead and take it away, man.
Okay, all right. So we spoke about using railroad spikes not too long ago, and that is going to be my demonstration for you all. Is how I choose to prepare and bless and charge railroad spikes for you to bury or keep in your property, in or around your property. So
while you do that, I'm gonna go get set up on mine, and I'm gonna go ahead and let you have the full screen here so everybody can see you.
Okay. So if you bear with me for a second here, I'm going to reposition my computer so that you can see my workspace here. So let's see. So let's see. All right, cool. So you can see everything. All right. So basically, we're going to get started. I'm going to show you everything that I have. I'm preparing to work with here. So as you can see on this terracotta plate here, I have 4 railroad spikes that I have gone and retrieved from the railroad. And we have a red brick that I will be taking red brick powder from. So we have that. And then we have a recipe for a powder that we're going to need to use. So everything that you're going to need. You're going to need a little bit of rum. This is a particular formula known as chamba. It is aguardiente. It is grain alcohol with a pepper and a little bit of gunpowder. This is not necessary for whatever you're doing. This is very hot to the mouth, but it is something I use to add a very vigorous kick to the work that I am doing. So I'll be using that. You will need gunpowder, actually dry gunpowder, to apply to your powder. So we have that. I have black salt that was actually gifted to me by a good friend of mine not too long ago. So I'll be using black salt in that in this formula. You will need, of course, you will need your cigar that you will cinch your work with. We have garlic skins here that I have previously powdered down, grinded down to be easy to mix and work with. I have last little bit of my rue here, powdered dried rue. And then I have a special formula that I learned from Doc called Dragon's Breath, which is a mixture of dragon's blood, of basil, and black copal. If you don't have black copal, you can also use myrrh, but combining that into a powder is what I'll be sensing with. Then, of course, black pepper and a blue candle. So bear with me for a second. I'm going to go ahead and light one of my coals for my censer and let that go ahead and get started. These are, again, these are self-lighting coals, a must-have for any conjurer because, traditionally I like using regular coconut coals because they do burn longer and they don't have, kind of weird chemicals in them. They smell better. They do burn longer, but having self-lighting coals, they burn very quick. And or they light very quick, and they're good for on the go if you don't have a stove or any type of a coal lighter with you or whatever. So I'm going to set that aside and allow that to Continue to heat. Okay, so the first thing we need to do when working this is preparing your powder. So in that I have a wooden mortar and pestle. I recommend using stone. You can also just use a regular coffee grinder. In fact, that's how I grounded down my garlic skins and my roux prior. But use this just as a nice little chamber for mixing here. So I'm going to set all my powders in my mortar and pestle and get ready to mix those. So we will take a little touch of garlic skins. Not a lot, just a little bit will do. Put that in there and close that up. You need black pepper, a must have for any type of protection work. Get a little bit of black pepper in there, not a lot, just a touch. You don't need a whole bunch. Okay. This is my powdered roux. So I'm going to pour that roux in there. I spoke a lot about using roux to combat the evil eye. So by always having that in there, roux is going to be great for any sort of work involving protection. Oh yeah, you're going to put in a little bit of black salt. Now, what's important to know about any of these recipes is that these recipes aren't. This is my particular blend that I use, but I also have some other mysteries that I don't share because that's my secret special little cake. But with these recipes, you can make these your own. You don't have to use this exact formula. I'm using this formula. I created this formula based on what virtues I want this particular powder to have. And I'm covering all of my bases, all those bases with what I chose. And then the last little bit of this is just a touch of gunpowder. Not a lot because, as you know, gunpowder is flammable. So when you have things that will be near exposed to flames, you don't want to, practice fire safety. Be smart people. Don't blow yourself up and then tell people that Doggone Creek had told you to do that. So now that I have everything in my mortar and pestle, I'm going to kind of grind and mix all of these things together so that they're distributed nice and evenly. And like I said, I went ahead and grinded down the garlic skins ahead of time. So, to avoid me having to really spend a lot of elbow grease mixing that. So, this is also a good powder for this is a good formula and mixture for any other powder. So say you wanted to, lay a line of this, in your front door or sprinkle this down in your yard, you can do that. If you wanted to put some down in any other place, I'm not necessarily creating this as a dressing for a space. I'm going to actually apply it directly to my work. Oh yeah, and then I'm sorry, I almost forgot one last crucial element, my red brick powder. So what I have here, an important note when you are working with red brick powder is that it's essential that you get a brick from a pretty old building. The older the brick, the longer it's been standing. So the longer it's been formed and used as an element of protection. So newer bricks, not so much. Plus, newer bricks have a slightly different formula than like old school bricks. So bricks that from buildings or from spaces from before like 1970, 1960, or what have you, are ideal for creating your red brick powder. And push come to shove, if you can't find that, let me know. I have a very large collection of red bricks. So all I'm gonna do here is just chip off a little bit. I don't need a lot. I just got a hammer on the edge. So I get a nice little bit of powder there in the bottom. You may not be able to see it because of the plate I chose to use, but nevertheless, it is there, right there in the corner. I'm going to scrape that together and get that into my mortar and pestle. And it's in there. Okay. And then I'll continue to mix this, grind this down into a powder, and get everything nice and mixed in there. Okay. So, got that mixed up in there, got all our pepper and everything that we need. So, as Doc said, when you are working with, magic, when you're working a spell, when you're, performing any sort of trick, it is good practice to have with you one of three things: cigar smoke, rum, and a cigar, rum, and a white candle. So you want to give this work light. You want to give this work that light, that essence. We gotta give it breath. We gotta give it life. We gotta give it spirit. So now that I have all of those things, make sure we're visible here. I'm gonna take my railroad spikes and get them prepared for you, prepared for this ritual. So we actually move my coal here. You see the coal is just about ready to be used. I lit it, and now it's just about white. So I'm gonna let that continue to cook for a little bit longer, and then get to that. So what I have here is my pot and my machete. This is my own particular brand of how I like to work. This is essentially this is one of my altar spaces. I have mysteries inside my pot that add a particular element to the work that I do. So I'm going to take my railroad spikes. Actually, before I do that, I like to. So before I do that, now these railroad spikes that I have already been under process for quite some time now. So whenever I collect something out in the world, particularly railroad spikes, I do like to process those a bit to get any other type, potentially like malignant residue energy off of that. So something that I like to do prior to that, and I'll show y'all that real quick, is burning your railroad spikes and setting fire to them. So this is I'm not going to add a lot. So this is basically, like I said, this is grain alcohol. This is essentially Everclear and a little bit of gunpowder, a little bit of pepper. I'm going to shake that up, pour a little bit of this on each of the railroad spikes, just to make a nice little puddle in the middle of your fireproof, burn-proof dish. Make sure y'all can see that. I just applied and poured some alcohol there. And then I'm going to ignite this. And it won't take long for it to catch fire and burn out completely. I use this process when I'm burning dirt, when I am, usually when I'm processing dirt, if I'm processing things like railroad spikes and pieces of metal or what have you. Like I said, this will continue to blaze. It'll burn out shortly. This is nice. It's kind of cold in here, so I'm getting a nice little a nice little warmth off of this off of this fire that's coming up off of these spikes. As you can see, it doesn't take long for that alcohol to burn up. In fact, it's actually taking a little bit longer because there's a little bit of wax built up on these spikes from previous workings and processes. But as you can see, the fire is coming to a close. And I'll spread it out a little bit, just to spread them out just to help the flame dissipate a little bit quicker. Okay. This is really giving a nice, nice potent fervor and energy to these railroad spikes. So you would think that the same way that the element of fire applies to like a fiery wall of protection, now we have that same virtue imbued in these railroad spikes. Mm-hmm. Just a little bit more, we will be in business. Okay, all right. So be careful because these are a little bit hot. Not burning hot, but they're a little bit warm to the touch. So of course, tap and test what you were about to pick up. I'm going to use a little cloth here for a little bit of heat protection. Yeah, seems we're still pretty warm. So now I'm going to take each of these, and I like to line my railroad spikes up on my machete here. Putting them up here, I'll move the camera in a second for you to be able to see how I am arranging them here. Right, and the last one. Okay. So, oh, you got that. So, so you can see. Oh, I have it set up. So, have each 4 railroad spikes lined across my my machete right here. So, now that I did that, I will give these smoke. So with that, just have, standard cigar like this. Okay. Now you can proceed to just blow cigar smoke over these to kind of give them that blessing. So. Okay. Now that I've done that, I am going to now give these railroad spikes more of my own special shade, my own virtue and power by spewing rum onto them. So by doing this, you don't have spew if you don't want to. You can always just pour a little bit, kind of let that sit. But I like spewing it because it gives me a nice fine mist. So. Ooh, man, that's spicy. All right, so we have, excuse me. So now we have our railroad spikes dressed with smoke. We have given them rum, and now we will give them light. So when we give them light, basically all that means is that we're giving it a candle. Giving it a candle. You can use black. You can use blue. What I would usually like to do is carve along the side of the candle particular command or instruction. So you can write protection, you can write guard, you can write protect my family, protect myself, protect my body, whatever it is that you are seeking for this to protect, that's what it shall be. So I'm going to take this candle, light that, and I'm going to set it in the middle of these railroad spikes here. And of course, what I like to do, just drip a little bit of wax. Just a little bit of wax before you stick your candle down so that it can stand up on its own. I need a little bit more wax. There we go. Okay, all right, so that's gonna stand up there. I'll move the computer so you can kind of see what we have set up here with the candle and the 4 railroad spikes balanced on my machete. Okay. Now the last part of this, well, not the very last part, but last thing that we're going to add here is a bit of our powder that we just created. We're just going to sprinkle that along the cover them nicely over the railroad spikes here. So covering these with nice protection powder. You'll see. And I didn't use a lot because I only have to cover these just a little bit. So yeah, so you'll have a little bit of leftover protection powder there. Keep that for yourself. Apply it, where you need to. Apply it around your home, or repurpose it for another project, another work of your liking. So I'm going to actually place my brick back into my cauldron. And I like to keep it there. And then, then we have another candle. So I have this pillar candle there, giving it that light. And I actually have another protection candle that is active from me preparing the hyperglyphs that I'll be speaking on a little bit later. So take this protection candle. You can do the same to the black candle, black protection 7-day candle. And I'm going to place that down into the pot. Place that down into the pot. In fact, what I'm actually going to do is put the brick there and place this candle back on top of the brick inside of the pot there. I do a lot of protection work. I do a good deal of protection work. So, I'm constantly empowering my tools empowering the things that I tend to work with. So, these fights, this break, I keep all of that music together, constantly, giving it energy, giving it energy. Okay, so now that we have our whole setup here, we want to sense this work and give it scripture. 9 times, most times when we're working conjure, we're working with a particular psalm in mind to kind of further further the energy that we're giving towards our work. So for protection works, I particularly am a fan of Psalms 91. So that is what I'm going to read aloud, to this work after I get the sense. So I have my coal here. You see that is now completely white and ready for incense. So I'm actually going to set this down in my pot and allow the smoke to rise up and kind of get all over the work here. And like I said, this is Dragon's Breath incense. It is a combination of dragon's blood, basil, and black copal. Like I said, if you don't have black copal, you can use myrrh. So I will drop some of that down on there. And as that begins to smoke, I'm going to go ahead and read Psalm 91 over and over. Okay. 81. Okay. He that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. I will say of the Lord, he is my refuge and my fortress, my God, in him will I trust. Surely he shall deliver thee from the snare of the fowler and from the noisome pestilence. He shall cover thee with his feathers, and under his wings shalt thou trust. His truth shall be thy shield and buckler. Thou shalt not be afraid for the terror by night, nor for the arrow that flieth by day, nor for the pestilence that walketh in darkness, nor for the destruction that wasteth at noonday. 1,000 shall fall at thy side, and 10,000 at thy right hand, but it shall not come nigh thee. Only with thine eyes shalt thou behold and see the reward of the wicked, because thou hast made the Lord, which is my refuge, even the Most High, thy habitation. There shall no evil befall thee, neither shall any plague come nigh thy dwelling. For he hath given his angels charge over thee to keep thee in all thy ways. They shall bear thee up in their hands, lest thou dash thy foot against a stone. Thou shalt tread upon the lion and adder. The young lion and the dragon shalt thou trample under feet. Because he hath set his love upon me, therefore will I deliver him. I will set him on high, because he hath known my name. He shall call upon me, and I will answer him. I will be with him in trouble. I will deliver him and honor him. With long life will I satisfy him and show him my salvation. Man, that's such a powerful verse there, because they speak, as they speak through, they speak a lot of different protective elements there. They speak on the time of day, how long and when this protection is going to apply, in day and night. They also involve, they also speak on dragons in the verse itself. So, by us using this dragon's blood, that has a bit of a biblical precedence there. So I'm going to sprinkle a little bit more of this incense and, kind of allow that to continue to suffumigate the work. And I just stir it around just a little bit more. And then that pretty much concludes my demonstration. Yeah, there we go. A nice good smoke going. So I will show you again a little bit closer everything that I have prepared here. See, make sure you can see. So yeah, we have our 4 railroad spikes covered in the powder. On top of the machete, we have the blue candle that you can choose to inscribe. We have the 7-day candle sitting in there on top of the brick. You know, a lot of these things are stylistic choices and choices I have for my work. Your work doesn't have to be so elaborate. You know, you can literally just have these sitting on a plate, have your railroad spike sitting on a plate with the candle in the middle, you know, and the protection candle and the blue candle, you know, right next to each other. And it'll be effective for you as well. So, set back up here.
I don't know what you got going on, man, but whatever that you was spraying, was about to choke you too, man. That's strong stuff.
What that was I was over here coughing off the chamba.
Oh.
So basically, so that essentially concludes that. That concludes that. So basically, what you're gonna do now, that you have this set up, and of course, your 7-day candle is going to burn for, you know, well, 7-day candles nowadays really only burn for about 5 days or so. So, you know, wait for your candle to burn down. Every day, if you would like, you could go and light more incense, burn more dragon's blood or more myrrh or what have you, dragon's breath if you have it, and say that prayer, read that psalm. You know, you could pray over that and, you know, really give that your intention. Now, once that is done and all the candles are burned down and extinguished, take those 4 railroad spikes, and you can put them in the 4 corners of your property. So, you know, if you have a whole property, front and backyard, put one in the put one by your mailbox, put one in the other corner of the yard, and then in the backyard, put you know, hammer it down into the dirt. You know, just point down in there. You just stomp that down with your foot or what have you. If you do not have yards, say you're in an apartment, then you can just do the 4 corners of your home. So like the furthermost 4 corners, that may be a bathroom or the kitchen or what have you, put your railroad spikes there. If you're in a shared space where, you know, you might have a roommate or you live with somebody who, you know, ain't really with all this hoodoo stuff that we do, then you can put them in your room, the 4 corners of your room. You can put them in your car. Like Doc said, you can keep one in the glove box, one in the trunk. You know, if it's, you know, a business, you can put them there as well. Put these wherever to protect that space. So not only does this protects you in a couple of ways. It protects you by keeping you from being moved from your space. This kind of trick developed in response to land grabs and people using dishonest means to trick and swindle people out of their property, out of their homes. Whether that may be through eviction, maybe that may be through, you know, somebody fudging some paperwork and, you know, swindling you out of your deed, whatever it is. This keeps you nailed down, your property nailed down. On top of that too, like it's defensive because now you're somebody, your yard, your area is protected with the force of the locomotive. Anything that tries to come and penetrate this space is met with the force of the protective force of a train. You know, and very much so the spirit of the railroad. You know, and the powders and everything else that you put there and that prayer. One last thing that I did want to mention about gathering railroad spikes. So place you get your railroad spikes from are, of course, the railroad. You go there and you want to go there humbly, respectfully, you know, and basically walk down the railroad and until you find these spikes. You don't have to try to pull them out. The vibration of the train actually kicks them up out of their space. So you just gotta walk for a while. And walk until you find them. What I like to do, I recommend to do, is bring an offering for the spirit of the railroad. That can be 5 pennies or 5 matching coins. It can be 5 quarters, $5, 5 pennies, or what have you. The number 5. Bring 5 of those. Leave them there. What I usually like to do is drop a penny every railroad spike I get. My particular practice is I go and I just get as many as I can find and carry, just drop a penny for every single one that I pick up. And then you can also bring rum there. You can bring meat there. You can bring steak, like red meat. You can bring plantains, that kind of stuff as, just a nice little offering for that spirit there to give thanks for the energy it's giving you. That's pretty much it. I see somebody asked, do you feed the spirit of the iron with rum every so often, every month or full moon? Excuse me. Yes. Once you put your spikes there, tune into your work. Tune into your work and be aware of it. Tap into that energy that you've created. And, every month or so, it may ask to be redressed. You may not have to go through the whole ritual again, but, you will want to go back and spray it with a little more rum, give it a small candle, put them back, just a single white candle or a black candle or blue candle, what have you. Burn that down and then put them back. If they're buried in the ground, then really you can just go back by there and pour a little bit of rum on top. You can pour rum on top of them there and keep them fed that way. But that's pretty much it. If you have any other questions, just submit them in the Q&A, and then we will go back over it. So, Dr. Cosmic, are you ready, or do you want me to speak a little bit about the hyperglyphs before we get into it?
Yeah, go ahead and speak about the hyperglyph. I'm just going to make sure my camera's set up.
Oh, okay. All right, cool. So, on top of that, so you may have seen me post in the group and in the actual event that everybody who is in attendance today will receive a 20% off coupon for a trademark of my own particular brand called a talismanic or a talismanic hyperglyph or a hyperglyph. Talismanic, if I imbued the talismanic properties of astrological properties, but this is in particular is a hyperglyph. So when we spoke on image magic and being able to use pictures, images to protect a space, to protect ourselves, so on and so forth, I took that theory and expanded on that by actually creating artistic pieces that are essentially a ritual in itself. It is a ritual. It is a spell that I have arranged the elements of protection or the elements of whatever type of work that I am using into art. So there's information coded in there that all applies to protection. So this particular hyperglyph is actually the artwork of Guard 2019. So you see that this was actually the flyer artwork. So, if you look very closely, you'll see pretty much everything that I just used was present in this artwork. We have the Nazar here, which is the evil eye, the Hamza, the hand with the eye in it. We have that present here. We have black candles present. We have bricks. We have railroad spikes. We have machetes. We have a ring of salt. We actually have a cauldron present as well. We have Kita Maldición in the background here. All of the elements in this image are actually protective elements and are empowered to protect your space. So on top of that, I also have other further mysteries and rituals embedded into the frame itself. I have writs in here. I have seals in here. I have other medicines and objects of protection embedded into into this, and I have a really specific ritual. Not what I just showed you. I have something a lot more detailed and involves me actually going out into the world and bringing this with me and channeling spirits of the spirits of protection, the spirit of the railroad, and the spirits of the man at the crossroad into their work. So these are available, and everybody who is in this can use the code GUARD 2019. That would be your discount code for 20% off. There's only a few of these available. So we only have a few of these available. They're $50 for the print themselves. The print alone will be like the actual art itself, and it will have the writs and seals on the back of it. You can take this, you can frame it, hang it up in your space. This is good to go. This in itself is a protective amulet. So you'll be able to use this, put this in a space. You can put pictures behind it, pictures of yourself, pictures of your family, pictures of your, of whatever it is that you wish to protect will go behind this in a frame. Or you can get the extra strength version. That's $50, 20% off. Or the extra strength version that includes even more writs, even more seals, the actual protection medicines all embedded and built into the frame and everything else. This is a bit more expensive. This is $250, but this is super powered and packed with magical charges, sure to add a very, very strong layer of protection to your home and to your space. So all you have to do is go to my website and place your order. My website is artbykriga.com/shop. I'll actually send that in the chat now. www.artbykriga. artbykriga.com/shop. And you'll be able to go there. You'll be able to purchase just the talismanic hyperglyph, or the regular strength one, or the extra strength deluxe talismanic hyperglyph, both available there. And then there's also other artwork and things available too. You can kind of take a stroll through some of my other works, some of my other artworks, and get to know the artist side of me. I've shared the magician side with you. So I think that pretty much concludes my demonstration, and I believe that Dr. Cosmic will be preparing for his segment.
All right. Always weird doing this two camera thing. All right, so yeah, I'm going to switch over to my little workstation, which is going to be the sink. I'm not as deep as Dogon. I wish I had me a cauldron by the size as my whole life. But so I'm going to let me move him from the spotlight here, and if I can do that, and if I can make this make okay, and oh, I can't do that because I'm on. All right, let's see if this will work. I'll be back. I'm working out the kinks, y'all. Thank you for your patience. Y'all let me know if y'all can see that. Let me make it bigger here. Any of y'all can see that my sink there. Okay, you can.
Yes, I can see it.
All right, so, great.
Good to go.
So I'm gonna mute my computer, then turn on the volume on that side, that way y'all can hear. All right. Make sure you guys can hear me. We have feedback in the video. All right. Okay, y'all can hear me. Okay, great. So this I'm gonna show you how to make a psychic decoy, and it is gonna be a couple of different things here. All of this, don't try to worry about trying to write it all down right now unless you really want to. Don't be like, well, what was that? And then I get distracted. Because it's all gonna be in the notes I'm gonna send you guys. Like I said, beginning of this webinar, in about a week and a half, 2 weeks, when we get everything squared, we'll send it out to you. So psychic decoy. Why is this necessary? Because, as we know with spiritual work, if you have someone's personal concerns, the stronger of a link you have to that person, and therefore, the more likely your work is going to affect them. All right. You have something of theirs. You have an actual indelible link to that person. We know that magic works along the law of sympathy and the law of contagion, meaning that a thing that's come in contact with one thing will always carry connection with that thing forevermore. All right. So therefore, your hair is always connected to you, your fingernails, your skin, things like that. All right. So what do we do? How do we get around that if we're in a situation where somebody has that of ours? We make a decoy. All right. We make a spiritual decoy. All right. That is going to look like us, smell like us. In other words, it's going to have the same energetic blueprint, as it were, that we have. All right. So when they go sending their spiritual dogs to sniff our scent out in the spirit world, it'll pick up the decoy and not you. It'll pick up the decoy and not your kids or your family or your business, etc. And the decoy will be hit and not you. All right. So here I have a terracotta pot here. I'm just going to do a little bit of preliminary work here by purging this. And I'm going to use a solution of Florida water. All right, Florida water and Quitin Maldición. All right. That's what that is. Wish I could get some better lighting in here, but I guess I got what I got. All right. So we're just going to pour a little bit of that in here. All right. This is just a Quitin Maldición extract with Florida water. All right. Just like that there. And, if you've been in my class, as you see from Dogon, we like lighting stuff on fire. Okay. That's just something that we do. All right. There's also part of feeding the work. All right. Giving it a liquor, giving it a rum. Okay. I'm not going to be working with the spirit of the quote unquote pot per se. So therefore, the alcohol solution I give, it doesn't have to be edible. All right. I could quite as easily use rubbing alcohol for this, because that's not going to be the pot is not the most important thing. It's just a container. All right. So I'm going to ignite that. There we go. There it is, like that. See that nice blue flame? Again, we've got Florida water, a cleanser. Quitin Maldición, an aggressive protector and a cleanser. We got that blue flame, right? We know blue is a color of protection. All right. Very, very good. All right. So we're good on that. Now, this is a terracotta pot. With this, I recommend not using one that is, using a pot, whatever, that's not metal. And again, you can use pretty much any container that'll fit. Just I recommend the one that's not metal because of what we're going to be using as your decoy. All right. What we're going to be using is a couple of things. And I'm going to just kind of lay them out so you can see here. I'm going to be using some Keep Away Evil powder. Again, that recipe will be, in your notes. Some Lost Stay Away powder. You just never know. I don't know who this decoy may be for. It might be at the Trap House Conjure. They're gonna come get your lodestone. I'm joking. Here's the firewall of protection powder. All right, so you're gonna be using these. All right. Also, something else you want to consider. All right, you want to consider some dirt. Now you are going to bury this, so make sure it has like a lid. This is a nice little. Because I got this from one of the local Spanish stores. All right, it was like $12 for the whole thing. Nothing really fancy. All right, but you do want to get some dirt. All right. I recommend two kinds of dirt, or at the very least, depending upon where you're going to be working this at. Let's say this is for your home. All right. You need to draw attacks away from your home. Then you do want to put some dirt from the four corners of your house in here as well. All right. Maybe you have a lot of issues on your job. Okay. Gossip, slander, libel, things like that. Lies or whatever. Just always a bunch of mess going on, as it were. Then, you can add dirt again from the four corners of your job here also, right? You want to build a decoy that's going to attract and draw things to it, all right? Now, let's talk about our centerpiece here, all right? Our centerpiece is a lodestone, all right? A lodestone. Now, this may come as a shocker to some of you. You pretty much are familiar with lodestones being used for money work. I did a money altar with a lodestone, right? Because the lodestone we know draw. The lodestone is a God-like magnet. It's a divine magnet, all right? It is not a man-made magnet, all right? Man, being of a dual nature, produces things with dual nature. So therefore, man-made magnets, I'm saying that 5 times fast, will both draw and repel. You got a North Pole and a South Pole, all right? When you have a lodestone, a naturally made magnet, it only attracts. It does not repel, all right? So you're probably familiar with drawing money, okay, fast luck, and also things that you want to use two of them to draw a couple together, right? You and the other person, all right? But also, because of that drawing ability, it also works to draw and protect you. How so? It will draw the attack to it and not to you. In other words, the lodestone, this child of iron, this child of the earth, this child of electricity, this child of magnetism will magnetize the hit. So it will not hit you, it'll hit it. Furthermore, it's basically like making a magical lightning rod. That's a better way I can put it. A magical lightning rod, all right? It will draw the attack from you and it'll hit it, all right? So let's, I'm going to, also you want to, again, make sure that this lodestone represents you. How do you do that? Well, glad you asked. You want to work your personal concerns. The things that you are afraid are being used against you, you want to work it with the lodestone. All right. Let me give you a few examples of what I mean. All right. Dress it with personal concerns. Dress it with your saliva. All right. Spit on the lodestone. All right. A few times. Okay. Why is that? Because when you use your saliva here, that means that anything that may have been tricked for you to ingest, for you to put in your mouth, all right, again, the lodestone will draw it away from you. Why not the blood, all right? You can put blood on this, your own blood. As I mentioned to you before, I'm very careful with blood magic.
but this is a very safe way to use it. All right. If they have your blood and they're trying to send a generational curse, you want it to avoid you and your household. All right. Then let the lodestone draw that away from you. All right. Your semen, brothers, wife, she's got or he's got your semen. Okay. They can fix you through having your semen. They can tie you down sexually where you can't get up for any other woman or whatever the case may be. So put your semen here also. All right. I've got some examples here. Where is what I'm talking about? All right. Just for shits and giggles, you know. Your urine. All right. Your urine. People can ban you with that also. They can try to master you. This is actually not urine, y'all. This is ammonia. I'm just using it for, you know, shits and giggles. All right. Don't be deep. All right. You can use your urine. As I mentioned before. All right. Your semen. It's actually not semen, y'all. That's ranching water. Okay. I'm just using it for visual aid here. Okay. Semen like, doctor, put somebody's semen in there. No. All right. Again, to avoid being hit through a sexual attack. All right. Also, vaginal fluids. Right. Women, go ahead and come on your hand or come on some paper. If he can't make you come, make yourself come. All right. Put it on a napkin. Wrap it around your lodestone so that you, all right, your pussy can't be tied. All right. The lodestone will take the hit. All right. Your hair. Why? Also, the hair comes from where? The head. You don't want people using your hair to work on your head. What I mean by that, I mean mastering you, trying to control your thoughts, making you do something you don't want to do. Okay, turning your hair in a certain direction. So use your hair with this also. Okay. Also, you want to use your nail clippings from both hands and feet. Why is that significant? All right. Because use your fingernail clippings so that you can't get affected if you touch something. Maybe there's a powder, something may have been tricked for you, and you touched it, you came in contact with it by your hands. It's going to draw it to the lodestone. All right. Same thing with your toenails. All right. If you walk over something, again, it'll draw it to the lodestone. All right. So if they send out a spirit and they say, hey, this is her hair, this is his semen, find them and do X, Y, and Z. They're not going to find you. They're going to find your lodestone. All right. So let's go ahead and work this. First and foremost, I'm also going to use the piece that Dogon just talked to you guys about. This very protective glyph. All right. I'm going to pull this up into a little packet. All right. And in here, I'm going to put my dry materials. All right. Now, let me say this while I'm thinking about it. How big should your lodestone be? I get that question a lot. All right. I say this. Your lodestone should be about the size of your fist. All right. Again, you want it to be sympathetic to you. All right. If you're building a decoy pot, let's say for your whole house, your whole family that lives with you. All right. Then you want I would tell people, use a pound per person. So you got 5 people that sit under your roof, get a 5-pound lodestone. All right. If you got 2 people under your roof you're trying to protect, use a 2-pound lodestone. All right. Now you can also use smaller lodestones if you want to represent each individual person. Okay. Here's some smaller lodestones. All right. Now, lodestones do have a gender affiliation. All right. So the more rounder lodestones, all right, are for those who identify female. The more angular, phallic, flat lodestones, all right, for those who identify as male. Okay. So if you've got, you and your wife or you and your husband, you can put, you can mix and match the lodestone if you want to. If you just have one big lodestone, that works also. We're going to work with just one big lodestone. That's for right now. All right. Now, we're going to put our solid materials in here. So that would be things like your hair, all right, and your fingernail clippings, all right? A piece of fabric from your clothing will also do well here, all right? What did I just do with that? Here it is. All right. So you got some hair here. We got some fingernail clippings, toenail clippings here. All right. And again, we're going to make a little paquette. Just put it up like that. We're going to set this down. All right. In there like so. All right. Just like that. Nice and snug. All right. Put that just closer. All right. Next, we're going to add our dirts. Again, if you feel that, you also want to protect your money. Can I use bank dirt, Doc? Certainly you can. All right. Here's some dirt from the house. All right. Now, you see also there's some other little things in here I've added. For example, some root and the roots of root. You can definitely begin to fix even your dirts with protective ingredients, protective charges. Can I add devil's shoestring? Certainly you can. All right. Don't be shy with this. Let the Spirit lead you. All right. We're going to add some dirt from the job. All right. Just like so. All right. Now that we've got that, all right, now we can begin to feed this dirt, all right, with the fluids we're talking about, right? The blood. This ain't nothing but red palm oil, all right? The urine, semen, whatever else. All right. Now, go ahead and take your lodestone. Set it down right there on top of that. Now you need to baptize the lodestone. All right. And by baptizing, we use the term baptize to mean that you're going to ensoul it. All right. We baptize effigies and fetishes. For example, a hoodoo doll, a spirit doll, a voodoo doll, if you will. You would baptize that doll. All right. And in doing so, you would ensoul that doll. That doll has a soul in it. And if it's done properly, it's a soul fragment of the person you want the doll to represent. Okay, so here we have really all the things a person would need to identify you, whether magically, even by DNA. All right, we're going to use that and ensoul this. All right, so I'm going to use 3 things, like I mentioned to you guys before. All right, a white candle. All right, a cigar, and rum. This is Everclear. All right. Now, this is how we do it. First thing we're going to do, camera looking weird. First thing we're going to do, all right, is feed it a little bit of rum, all right? Now I'm just going to pour some on here, all right? But I'm going to spray it from my mouth, just like Dogon showed you, all right? The rum here in this particular case represents the fluids, all right? You're building an ensouled effigy, as it were, all right? So it's going to need to represent his blood, all right? I'm going to spray a couple on here. All right. That's blood for your body. I'm going to give you breath for your soul. Now, all I did with this was just kind of do a shotgun style. All right. It says, and turn this and blow out this end. Now, if you don't have that kind of skill to do that, you're a little scared. All you got to do is take it in your mouth, hold the smoke, then breathe it out. Just like that. All right. You don't have to be too deep. All right. And then lastly, we have the candle. So we've given it blood for the body, breath for the soul, and light for the spirit. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost. I've baptized this lodestone. I've given it what it needs for its body. I've given it what it needs for its soul. I've given it what it needs for its spirit. It is so, and it cannot be otherwise. Now, you can, once again, pour a little rum over this. Just like so. I speak to the spirit of this lodestone, and I say to you, you are no longer stone and rock in earth. I speak to the spirit of the lodestone, and I say to you, you are no longer rock and stone and earth. I speak to the spirit of this lodestone, and I say to you, you are no longer rock and stone and earth, but you are flesh, you are blood, and you are bone. I speak to the spirit of the lodestone, and I say you are flesh, and you are blood, and you are bone. I speak to the spirit of the lodestone, and I say you are flesh, you are blood, you are bone. Spirit of iron, I call to you. Spirit of iron, I call to you. Spirit of iron, I call to you. Spirit of lightning, I call to you. Spirit of lightning, I call to you. Spirit of lightning, I call to you. Spirit of magnetism, I call to you. Spirit of magnetism, I call to you. Spirit of magnetism, I call to you. I command all attacks from the north, the south, the east, the west, above, below, before, behind, to come to you. From all directions will come to you. From all dimensions will come to you. Every attack from above will come to you. Every attack from below will come to you. Every attack by fire will come to you. Every attack by water will come to you. Every attack by sea and the underground will come to you. Every attack by the earth will come to you. Every attack by air will come to you. What is meant for my evil will be for you. You meant it for evil, but God meant it for my good. For it is written, whosoever cometh to me and heareth my saying and doeth them, I will show you to whom he is like. He is like a man which built a house and digged deep and laid foundation upon a rock. And when the flood arose and the stream did beat against the house, it could not shake it, for it was founded upon the rock. My house is strong upon the rock. You begin to just speak your decree over it. I am rubber, you are glue. What's meant for me will come to you. I am rubber, you are glue. What's meant for me will come to you. I am rubber, you are glue. What's meant for me will come to you. The evil that is meant for me will come to you. The evil that is meant for me will come to you. The evil that is meant for me will come to you. Every hit that is meant for me will come to you. Every hit that's meant for my family will come to you. Every hit that's meant for my business will come to you. All witchcraft meant for me will come to you. All witchcraft up to my family will come to you. All witchcraft meant for my business will come to you. All bad luck sent to me will come to you. All bad luck sent to my family will come to you. All bad luck sent to my business will come to you. The evil eye that's sent to me will come to you. Evil eye sent to my family will come to you. The evil eye upon my business will come to you. Every curse that's meant for me will come to you. Every curse meant for my family will come to you. Every curse meant for my business will come to you. All misfortune that's sent to me will come to you. All misfortune sent against my family that's meant for me will come to you. All misfortune against my business will come to you. All kind of sickness and disease will come to you. It will not come to me. I magnetize you. Spirit of the lodestone, I magnetize you. I magnetize you. I magnetize you. I magnetize you to misfortune. You will attract it and repel it from me. I magnetize you to sickness and disease and infirmity and death. You will attract it and draw it far from me. I magnetize you to poverty, to lack, to insufficiency. You will attract it and draw it from me. I magnetize you to every invocation, every evocation, every incantation, every enchantment meant against my life. It will come to you and not to me. I magnetize you to every lie, all gossip, all slander meant for me. It will be left, it will leave from me and come to you. Give it a little bit more rum. All right. Now what you want to do, you want to feed it. Now we gave it some rum so it can drink. All right. You know, you can't just live off of water. I mean, you could, I guess, but you know, you want to eat too. All right. So y'all are very familiar about feeding the lodestone with iron grit. All right. So all this is iron grit. Okay. That's all that is. But as you're feeding it, you got to speak to it. Keep speaking to the spirit of the lodestone. Let it know what you're feeding it. That is not just iron grit. I'm trying to get somebody here. Here we go. All right. Spirit of the lodestone, I feed you. I feed you all my misfortune. I feed you all my curses. I feed you all evil eye. I feed you all bad luck. I feed you all hexes, all vexes, all X's, all jinxes, all tricks laid for me and my family and my business. Whatever is sent for me to eat that would harm me, you will eat it. Whatever is sent for me to eat that would disarm me, you will eat it. Whatever is sent to me to dismantle me, you will eat it. Spirit of the lodestone, eat and consume it all. Spirit of the lodestone, eat and consume it all. Spirit of the lodestone, eat and consume it all. All right. So that's pretty much what we're going to do with that. Also, we're going to add some firewall protection powder. All right. Come on, don't be shy now. To this. Don't be shy. All right. We're going to add some law stay away. Any lawsuits meant for me will come to you. Any indictments meant for me will come to you. Any subpoenas meant for me will come. Any warrants meant for me will come to you. All right. And keep away evil. Keep away evil powder. All right. All evil men and all evil spirits that's meant for me will come to you. I will attract the good and you will repel the evil. All right. Just like that. Okay. And if you want to, you can, give us some more smoke if you want. It's perfectly fine. like that. And there you go. Just put your seal like, put it up like that. All right. And what you want to do with this you want to bury it by your front door. And I would say about on your birthday or on the if it's for your home, then do it on the anniversary of your lease or the anniversary of your mortgage, whatever. And exhume it. Don't bury it so deep, but exhume it. And all you gotta do is just pour a little bit more rum on it, right? Give it a little bit more lodestone feed, or what we call iron grit. Right, and this thing right here will work. I'm telling you, it works like a charm. It works like a charm. I'm telling you what I know. All right. So that's what I wanted to leave you guys with that. And you can also, now I'm thinking about it, if you can't bury it in your front door, you can also put this in your attic. Where do they put lightning rods? On top of the house. All right. Bury it in your attic. All right. That's also a good place you can put this as well. All right. How do I let me
unmute again.
All right, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Oh,
Cosby.
there we go. All right.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
All right, cool. All righty. Man, yo, that's incredible, man. I swear to God, like every time you do some work, every time you go into prayer, you just like electrify like everything. That was amazing. Thank you for sharing that with us.
All right. So we have ranted, we've raved, we've given our demonstrations. Now it's time, because y'all haven't been patient, and let's hear any questions. We got a couple in the Q&A and in the chat. So let me go get my mouse first of all.
Okay, while you do that, I'm gonna go ahead and knock out some real quick questions in here. Going back up, let me see. Elizabeth, you asked about writing on the writing on your candle, inscribing your candle from top to bottom or bottom to top. Honestly, okay, I guess you can do top to bottom. Honestly, I don't really distinguish between the two, because it's like there's always an aspect of as above, so below. Whether I am channeling energy down into my work or I'm sending a prayer up, it honestly works either way. So what makes sense to you, and whatever makes sense to you, do it like so. I know that some spell books and some recipes recommend that you write in any particular way, but honestly, I can reason it any way. So to me, it doesn't.
I think some of the traditional ones is, and this is actually my personal practice, because like you said, there, depending on what work you ask, they will have a different directionality for it. As I work, if I'm drawing something to me, if I'm working more magnetically, then I'm going to write from wick to base, right? I'm going, because it's going to burn down, it's going to bring it down into solidity. If I want to remove something, then I'm going to write from base to the wick. There are some that, but go with your spirit, and however you feel led to, and don't, just stick with it. If you find a system that works for you, stick with that system.
Mm-hmm. Another really quick question that would be, Elia, Nina Rivera, you asked if Cascarilla eggshells for protection, how to use that. Really, I know that honestly, obviously, it's a powder for one. So mix that into, like, crush it down, mix into your protection powders. Mix that with, you can mix that with your brake dust, with your black salt, so on and so forth. Any type of powder you're making, just mix that in there. Also, cascarilla, I know that in some rituals, you can mark your hands, your feet, your neck, your shoulder. You can mark your body for protection, particularly like if you're like gonna like go to work with like particularly volatile spirits. Marking X's on yourself with cascarilla is a good way to
very good. It is a chef.
To keep some of that hot energy off of you. But then also, you can quite literally, like, it's chalk, so you can literally trace your door, trace your windows with it. You can apply it like that. Lots of different things, but I would definitely incorporate powder.
About the chalk, just as an advanced tip, you can use cascarilla and you can reform it into a chalk, and in that, I talked to my students some time ago, you can add different herbs into the reformed version of the cascarilla, so that, like, for example, protection herbs or love herbs or whatever, is the intention of behind your working. But it is a shell, it's an egg shell. So thus, we talked about before, according to the law of correspondence and the doctrine of signatures, shells protect. So it is a protective property to it.
Mm-hmm. And then Faith had a question. It said, mentioned use a red brick from an old building as it has protective measures. In a similar manner, red brick from a fireplace or a fire pit would also suffice. Yes. In fact, I think it will. And I mean, I also think that especially anything that's been around fire would be
firewall of protection.
Yeah, fiery wall of protection, quite literally. I think that would be. I think that would be a really good attribute or virtue to having your stuff. Okay, let's see. I kind of want to just knock out really quick answers. I see Jas Woodson asked, what is a mojo bag? And for a novice, are these protection works a good place to start? Really quick, a mojo bag is essentially a live vessel amulet that you create with certain mysteries and charges. So you would put you have a particular work in mind. What energy do you want to carry with you? And you think of that, you think all the herbs and all the objects and things that you would want to have with you, around you, and then you put that into your mojo bag. There's a bit of a process, actually, so I can't really give that whole thing because mojo bags are a full science on itself. But they're basically little amulets that you will carry with you to perform a certain work. You can draw money, you can draw a lover, you can protect, you can do all kinds of mastery, so on and so forth. So there's that. And then
it's portable magic is what a mojo bag is. Portable is magic for your pocket. Okay. Mm-hmm. And the cloth represents really you're building a type of spiritual being, okay, that is going to execute your objective even while you're not conscious of it. Very quickly, to put here, the science of mojos is this. You want something, create a mojo bag around it, have it on your person. And what will happen is that mojo will begin to radiate, all right, say for example, it's money. It will begin to radiate prosperity. After a while, it will inoculate your aura. Your aura will begin to also pick up. It'll infect your aura with prosperity. Then you begin to draw things that are prosperous to you, you see, or the vice versa. You want to repel something. So it works by contagion. But like Dogon said, the mysteries in there work like organs in a body to help the the spirit do what it needs to do, and the cloth is basically like the skin for that.
Word. And then also asked, are protection works a good place to start? Yes. In fact, for a novice, for somebody who's entering into this realm, I think that protection should be your first step. Don't try to overdo it. Definitely don't try to involve like spirit. If any spirit you want to involve in your works, especially as a beginner, your ancestors. A note on that. Your ancestors carry with them certain virtues as well. So, I think that, like, for instance, my grandfather was a retired soldier. So he is now chief of security and protection on my altar. Actually, both of my grandfathers were soldiers. So, but him particularly, like, he went overseas, like, he's a war vet. So he's in charge of protection. You can use your ancestors in that way. Only use your ancestors for works for you and your family. I wouldn't recommend, trying to involve your ancestors in works that for other people and so on and so forth. But yeah, so starting with protection, that's great because you need to be protected out here, especially from people who seek to take advantage of your naivety, people who don't have good intentions and stuff, and just from being swayed by bad information. I think that by protecting yourself, protecting your mind, you can also put up a barrier between, just bad information. You don't want to have you out here, doing, trying to perform rituals that would be, unsafe, so on and so forth. So
let me also feels on my heart. I just keep it in the back of my mind for the appropriate time to say. I also want to say, I'm gonna make a correction. What Dogon used was not Chamba. All right. It is we don't. I don't want y'all going to say I'm using Chamba. No, we hold the ATRs and what they do in high esteem, and we know that what they do is what they do. So we don't want to cross those wires. So don't go say Dr. Chamba. Then Chamba, it was a prepared alcohol is what he used, prepared rum. All right. He told you what he prepared it with peppers and gunpowder. But
thank you for that correction.
Yeah, Chamba is a ritualized fluid. It's got herbs and stuff in it. We won't get into that right now. I just want to make that public service announcement. We have a lot of friends who are Poleros. We respect all of the ATRs. I just want to make that clear.
Okay. So I think Eli asked, can you put it in a plant? Yes, you can actually. If you don't have a yard, but you do have like space for you to put, you have space in front of your door for like a potted plant or something, then you can very much so bury works in a potted plant in front of your door or even on.
Now you can do that with your railroad spice. Don't do it with the lodestone I showed you. All right. If you need to hide it like under a couch or something about the front door. I'm gonna tell you why. If you water that plant, we know that water and iron don't mix. All right. And the lodestone is a spirit of iron. So we don't want to do that. We don't want to cause it to rust. All right. That's why I said bury it or put it someplace, put it under a bed, put it under a couch. Okay. Put it someplace where it will not be, put it behind something. Find a covert way. Put it on top of a closet. All right, something like that. You can find some very covert ways to do that, but I want to say that.
Mm-hmm. Now, I think that is all of our like quick questions. Somebody asked, are there protective metals like silver and gold? Iron is a protective metal.
Yes,
so
you'll
iron,
find that.
Steel also.
Yes, those are iron and steel. Those are traditionally the metals of Mars. All right, the martial energy. Gold and silver, you'll find that they have protections against certain kinds of things. So obviously, silver, the silver bullet, the werewolf, that idea, things that can be affected that have lunar allergies, I'll put it like that, can be, you can use silver for that. And gold in a similar way.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm gonna go back to the Q&A. Faith asked, in regards to the protective nature of plants, what are your thoughts on the Venus flytrap in regards to spiritual protection? I like it. It eats pests. It eats flies. I think it's almost like I can actually see that as a more intelligent cactus in a sense. Like you could seeing as it's a living organism. Well, all things are essentially living organisms, but I think so. I think incorporating that to work would be very wise.
I would also say this of the Me Too movement, ladies, get your Venus flytrap. All right. Very specific form of protection against sexual harassment, rape, unwanted advances, etc. Okay.
Okay. Now let's see. There was a good question in the group. Okay, so Issa had a few questions, a few really specific questions about actually, I want to go back real quick. Sophia Zapata asked, can you give an example of a simple foot wash for protection? They also asked, how could one protect a child? Will one take the same measures for a child in the spotlight or an unborn child?
Yeah, so when it comes to children, let me tell you some, especially as parents, all right? Especially in the age we live in with all kind of mass shootings going on in schools and colleges, whatever. All right, fix your kids' clothing, fix their school bag. All right, dress it with oils, dress it with powders. All right, if you're washing their clothes, all right, then put I showed you Florida water mixed with Quintamandicion. Different. If you're part of the Hoodoo Bible study, we talk about how to make different extracts. Add that to the rinse cycle of their clothes. Have it literally ingrained. So when they put on their clothes, that you're putting on armor. Secondly, do the same thing with their shampoo. All right, help to guard their mind. We're in an age when people are very depressed, suicidal, down and out or whatever. So literally, they'll be dressing themselves with that on a regular basis. And then go old school. Actually, pray over your kids. Have a moment before that you send them out of prayer. All right, my parents grew me up on that. If you have a newborn baby, all right, you can make a mojo bag. All right, and put that under the mattress of the baby, all right, or above it. Not if it's going to, be a safety issue. Root, put a root plant. If you got a nursery, by that window. People will come and they'll fascinate again over your child. They'll be envious over your child. You had a child, they didn't. Yours light skin and they dark. People get weird like that. Okay, so that's an idea there. Her other question was. Because that I think that'll kind of get you thinking in that regard.
Okay. And then what was there? What was the other question? About they asked about protecting kids, and they asked about an example of a simple foot wash for protection. I would honestly just make you can make a foot bath with just the herbs. The herbs that we mentioned, Florida wise. So, rue, basil, rosemary, citrus. So lemon, lime, particularly lemon, Florida water, a little bit of rum, a little bit of grain alcohol or rum, cascarilla for sure. And then
dragon blood soap that I mentioned earlier.
Oh yeah, dragon blood soap. Mix all that. Mix all that, say your prayers over it and into it. Thing is about a foot bath, you need to know that you can't wash your own feet. Somebody has to wash your feet for you. That may pose as a challenge for some. Traditionally, you do need to have your feet washed by another person. And you need to wash somebody else's feet. But in the case that you can't do that, take those same ingredients minus the wet ones and make a powder and put it in your shoes. That'll work as well. So let's see. Issa had a good question. Said that he noticed that we both wear fingernail polish. That's a part of protection. Yes, for me, it's a style choice. But also, we're working with our hands. So it is a good practice to. It's just another way to put the virtue of spiritual color theory into your work. What kind of work are you doing? Are you doing protection? Black nail polish. If you want to be protected, protect your hands. Putting black polish on your, on your tips. You can also take that, you can take that another level. And, if you want to mix, very fine herbs into your polish, and then you put that on there, protect your hands, protect the things that you touch. Same thing for your toes, same thing for your feet.
I'm glad you brought that up. I was just thinking that, fixing. Let me tell you something about Hoodoo. We fix everything. And that's what my students learn. I tell you how to fix anything. Okay.
Fix your cologne, everything. Fragrances.
So in the same way, you can fix your paint. All right. If you're painting your house, that's a beautiful idea. Somebody asked about an unborn child. When you're painting the nursery with the different color theory, add those powdered things into the actual paint. All right. It's going to be there forever. All right. You can do, you can have two sets. You can have your first layer with the powders, and then of course your layer with the regular paint. That way you won't, have grits on the actual wall. And that's with anything. When you're painting your house, painting your nails, you can definitely doing artwork. Doga does it a lot. When you're doing artwork, for example, putting those mysteries in the paint. Fix everything. Fix it all up.
Mm-hmm. Issa also asked, asking particularly about the lodestone decoy. How do you know if it is taking a hit? Is there a way you can test? Some ways to test to see if we are being worked on, so you can protect yourselves. I'll let you take that.
Okay, so there's kind of two answers. One, I hope you never find out. That's kind of the idea of the decoy, right? You never know if you was being thrown at. But certainly you can divine. It may show up certainly in dreams. For example, if you have it in your home, or if you have it like under your bed and you're very in tune, you begin to have dreams. All right. I have a lot of dreams about people who will be throwing rocks in my direction, but it won't break through the glass. Things like that. Or the rock will bounce back and hit them in the head. I had that dream a lot of times. Okay. Those are ideas that your wards, your spirits are working on your behalf. If you're dealing with amulets, all right, like I said before, they will break by themselves. All right. If it's a ring, it'll fall off. It's still like if you remember Lord of the Rings, the ring will kind of resize itself to fit its wearer. It'll do that. It'll fall off. You'll lose it. Can't find it. Don't stress over it. All right. That's the spirit. That's the fetish saying, I took the hit for you. I've served my purpose. Now I'll go back and recharge. Now I'll go back and fill in that hedge, that gap. All right. So, but beyond that, you can definitely do divination. Certainly you can.
And this will be really quick. Last question from Issa. He asked a lot of really good questions.
Yeah.
We're going to move on after this one. He said, found out that someone has a missing family member. Is there a way to protect someone who has gone missing or kidnapped to keep them alive while searching for them? Definitely so. I would apply what I said about the image magic and all of that stuff. You have their picture. Protect their picture. Put protections on their picture. Putting that in a pot. Putting them putting them between images of like machetes or protective objects like that. Also, if you're trying to bring somebody back who is missing, keep a candle lit for them in a windowsill to light their way back home. You can also do a lamp or a lantern, like a kerosene lamp or whatever, or just a white 7-day candle will work as well. As a quick tip, Dollar Tree has white 7-day candles. They don't burn as long as other ones. They burn out in like 4 days, but they're very cheap. You can get a bunch of them. So if that's the case, write their name on the candle, set it in the windowsill, light it, and of course, you can say your prayers over it, pray for their safety, pray for their safe return, so on and so forth. Faith asked a really good question. What advanced works would you advise to guard against nocturnal psychic invasions? I'm assuming you mean like hags and like your standard sleep paralysis type stuff, people trying to come at you in your dreams, so on and so forth. Fixing your bed, having your tricks and stuff under your bed, railroad spikes under the bed, machete under your bed. Believe coconut under your bed is a protective trick. But yeah, you could just powder underneath your bed or powder underneath your mattress. Those kind of things. I've had a bit of experience in like Dreamtime psychic warfare. But it says as far as advanced goes, if you're advanced, the understanding mysteries of like lucid dreaming and astral projection and that kind of stuff. I have, gone to battle with people like in dreams before. It's just a matter of training yourself to become lucid when you feel you're under attack, and then effectively fighting them in that form.
Let me tell the story.
Wards, physical things in your space to keep things from coming into your room.
Your space. Let me tell a quick story. I was going to put up on YouTube. I just never got a chance to do it. But let me tell something along the lines of the time I got attacked in my sleep. And it has happened not nearly as much these years as it has when I was much younger. But I had one happen recently. One reason I don't talk about it because you don't give those people that kind of credit. But I had a witch that had hacked into my dream. And she was very clever. I'll give her that. Very clever. Definitely a very skilled witch. But here's a way, and I taught this to my class, because I woke up out of it and literally called all of them and told them what happened and what they need to do if it happens to them. First of all, if you come out of that, do not go back to sleep immediately. Get up, take a bath, whatever, walk around, all right? Do not go back into that, all right? If you pull it out, don't go back in. One of the ways you can detect this is they will build, this is talking about psychic warfare, all right? They will build a scene that's familiar to you, all right? And it's built by incantations. Here's the thing about dream incantations. It's still in the dream. The literal incantation is the fabric of the dream. So if you think something is not right, all right, look for something with writing on it. Anything. In this particular case, I was sitting at a breakfast bar, all right, in my aunt's house, all right. It was a familiar place to me, all right. And she was trying to feed me. I had to read. There was a frame print, okay. I had to keep reading it, all right. Every time I try to read it, the words would try to change. She tried to distract me. Oh, look over here. No, keep reading. If you read that out loud, all right, it reverses and undoes the incantation. It will break the dream open. All right. That's something you should know if you're dealing with a lot of dream psychic warfare. All right. So put it very concisely. If a witch is constructing a dream to lure you in, to hack into your mind, to get secrets from you, you should watch what's the movie Inception. It's a good movie about this. But the writing in just find anything. It's a newspaper, something in that dream has writing on it. Something does. All right. Just focus on that. All right. And begin to read it. And you'll read your way right out of the dream. Also, before I forget, espanta muerto. All right. Espanta muerto, which means to scatter the spirits. It is a plant. All right. You can utilize working with spirits. All right. Both infernal spirits, in tranquil spirits, not dead spirits, etc. Espanta muerto. Powder that down under your bed or under your in your shoes and things like under your mattress. Just beware, much like sage, it can remove all spirits, all right, from contacting you.
I think that might actually kind of go into a question from Poppy Chulo, who asked how to protect yourself if someone has already put your name in the graveyard and your money and finances are starting to take its toll. So this is more of uncrossing. If you're already under the auspices of work from somebody, then you're kind of out of the realm of preemptive protection, and now you're in the realm of actively uncrossing yourself. And uncrossing, I think, is best left to professionals. I don't think it's something that you should really try to attempt yourself. Like, you may be able to, you can start. I like to kind of approach things, especially given the matter, approach it, little steps at a time. A rigorous cleansing or a bath. You may start there. A reversal or break witchcraft candle or whatever, starting there. But you can try these things, see if it works for you. If it did work for you, good for you. But something particularly aggressive, like somebody putting your name in the graveyard, you need professional help there. I don't think that's something that
people don't do that by accident. That probably knows what they're doing. I would say in the meantime, to kind of triage help, and kind of get you stabilized so you can get somebody. With that lodestone work, all right, get you 21 pennies, acquire 21 pennies, get change from somebody. It needs to be your money though, okay? If you find it around the house, whatever, it needs to be your money, all right? And take a bath, take an uncrossing bath, all right? Take your pick, there's plenty online, whatever, all right? But put those 21 pennies in the bath, all right? Leave them in there until all the water goes out of the tub. Pick them up, put them into your lodestone pot, basically, all right? That's going to represent your money. Anything trying to hit your money, again, it's going to be deflected back to the lodestone. In the meantime, quita maldición, espanta muerto, lemongrass, okay, lemon verbena, your citruses, ammonia, salt. These are some things you can work with in the meantime. See how it works for you. That may be enough to remove it. But if somebody, like you said, gone so far as to bury in a graveyard, that people don't do that by accident. They know what they're doing. And you're going to probably need some more professional help with that, at least a consultation.
Yeah, so see professional help. Elizabeth asked a good question. It says they want to learn more, but they hesitate too much. Any help with this, please? Honestly, you speaking to the right man. Dr. Cosmic does take on students. So if this is something that you really want to really get some more hands-on tutoring with, speak to him. There's a process of apprenticeship, if you will, but talk to him about it. He will make sure that you get, if you're really serious about this. When I say serious, like being a student myself, like, I put in hours and hours and hours a week, to get my hand even to this level, which is still like, I have my strengths, but you know what I'm saying? Like there's a lot of work ahead of you. It's coming from somebody who, Doc has been practicing and studying for 15 years now. So you're going to get, you're very much going to get your money's worth. But I definitely recommend reaching out for that. And that goes for everybody else in here. And then you're already doing what you're doing by being a part of Hoodoo Bible Study. There's a lot of really good information when we do our lives. We'll be answering questions. And then, of course, actual class itself when we're doing the doctor's webinars. And then also paying attention, soaking up all the knowledge he drops on his YouTube channel and in his blog and stuff like that. There's always that. If you have questions, post them in Hoodoo Bible Study. One of us usually will be there to chime in to kind of, guide the information, make sure you get, you're personally edified and get the information that you're looking for. Then last question in the Q&A, Marco Fernandez asked, what's an effective protection jar for someone who can't bury? So I'm guessing you're asking how can you work protection if you can't put that in the ground? I think we've already addressed that as far as putting your decoy in another place that's not going to get wet. So if you can't bury it, keep it in your house somewhere. Keep it in a closet. Keep it under a bed. Would you say under a bed? I don't know.
Yeah, you can put it under bed.
Okay, so yeah, just keep it somewhere else if you can't bury it. And I think that is I think that's all of our questions, y'all.
That's it. I'll say this. Let me ask you guys, what did you guys think? Tell the truth, shame the devil. Let us know what you think. I know we went a little bit over. Was it worth it? Did you get your money's worth? We won't blast you on the recording. We'll just read your comments. We won't say speak anonymously. Would you come back again?
Said Issa said really like the decoy. So yeah, just to throw that out one more time. For everybody that was here tonight, the talismanic hyperglyph that has been ritualistically protected. In fact, Doc and I are both putting our hand to putting ritual on these. So all the power and all the prayer that you saw on display tonight will be imbued in these workings. We have the regular one that is $50. Then we have the extra strength framed one that is $250. That includes a lot more ritual and a lot more mysteries and so on. Those are available. That website again is artbykrieger.com/shop. That is my website. You'll go there, you'll find them. And GUARD 2019, no space, just GUARD 2019 is your coupon code to get 20% off. Y'all have dibs on that. There's only a few available, but we will after tonight I will be putting them out to the general public. So get in where you can because they're gonna go. I'll make more, again in the future, but this first run is a limited edition, so definitely get you one.
Yeah, you're right. Just to piggyback on that, we're actually be working on the extra strength together. The spirit guy, I told him, I'm gonna bring my machete also. So we working some very heavy stuff. So you definitely really want that. If you want 2 streams of force behind that, then it's definitely well worth the investment. I'm going to say thank you guys for your patience. Thank you so much for your time sensitivity. We kind of went a little bit over, but you guys know me. I like to give you more than what you asked for, more than what you paid for. That's just how I do things. So we're going to go ahead and I'm going to say thank you, Dogon. Really, really thank you. You were a blessing in this, and it went smooth. It really did. We are definitely going to be having you back on again. Y'all, again, check him out. He's artbykrieger.com. Follow him on all the social medias. He's very, very active. This is the guy. This is the guy. And you can trust him because he's one of my students. So I get on his ass when nobody else does.
Mm-hmm. So he stepped in and cleared the air about that rum. So there's a lot of that, but it's always for the better. Always for the better. So thank you again, Dr. Cosmic, for having me and giving me this opportunity to be able to share, and thank every one of you that came through and paid your hard-earned coin to join us and talk and learn. I'm glad that you were able to give to us, and we were able to give so much back to you. That cycle of giving and receiving is a blessing to everybody. So hopefully you'll be able to take these lessons here and apply them. And the one thing about protection is that that's the one spell you don't really want to see come. You don't want to see. Of course, you do money. You want to see your money come back. You want to see your money grow. You want to do love work. You want that. You want that lover to come to you. And everything else. But with protection, if all is quiet on the home front, you got some good wards. You got some good protection going for you. So hopefully, I hope that everybody can take these and apply them to their lives and have a very quiet front line. Stay safe out there. Conjure responsibly.
Yes, please. I'm going to go ahead and give the benediction and pray. Eternal and everlasting God, maker of heaven and earth, the Lord of all creation, we thank you for this time of gathering. You've said, I shall say to the north, give up, and to the south, hold not back. Bring my sons from afar and my daughters from the ends of the earth, and they have come. God, I thank you. According to Zechariah 2:5, for I, saith the Lord, will be unto her a wall of fire round about, and I will be the glory in the midst of her. Great God of heaven, set a wall of fire round about your children and protect them in their going out and in their going in, and in all that pertains to them. It is so, and it cannot be otherwise. Amen.
Amen.
All right, y'all. Good night.
Good night.